Well, good evening, everybody. Yeah, it's a strange one out there because apparently, people have really gotten stir crazy and lost their damn minds, including the weather. I, I mean, I've heard of the April Fool's blizzard before, but really, we're coming up on the end of the month. It's well past joke time already. And
Western part of Virginia, they had thunder snow.
yeah, that's coming up this way. It's supposed to hit tomorrow. And now here's what's really annoying. I actually have the weekend off.
Nice.
And guess what I won't be able to do? Yeah, you think I'm going to go riding in a snow and rain, freezing rain?
I'm sure you can put some skis on both sides of your bike.
No. I'm not going around and asking people for $3. Although
What's
that
wrong?
it,
Your balls would stick to the seat of your bike so you went riding in the freezing rain?
oh no, that's not the issue. The issue is traction.
Well, obviously that, but it's always fun to watch those motorcycles fishtail down the highway.
No. It's less about the bikes doing that. Actually, I laugh at the four-wheel drive vehicles thinking that they're hot shit, and then all of a sudden, they're just twirling there in the middle of the road.
Yep.
No. I'm not paying off the Loch Ness Monster either. Although, you know what? I haven't watched either of those in a really long time.
There you go.
No. Oh.
Even the snowmen have to wear masks.
No.
That is oddly fitting for what's been going on lately.
That was actually a friend of mine. She just lives up the road, and she sent that to me.
Well, you've had enough snow to actually make a decent snowman. Yeah.
Even the snowmen aren't immune from COVID-19.
Not looking forward to that tomorrow, then. See, I'll admit, I haven't even looked at accumulation totals, just the fact that, hey, yeah, it's going to be cold as fuck and wet and snow on my day off after we had a number of actually decent days, but been working so long I hadn't been able to have any time to ride when I got home. Fuck that shit.
It could be like early May of 2014. My grandmother passed away in late April of 2014, and the day after her funeral, we had 4.5 inches of snow where I live here in Missouri. So I had to rush back. I got to stay for the funeral, the burial, and I got to grab some food for the road. I filled the truck up and got to fly back to Missouri because the next day, or that late that night, I was actually running into snow bands around Joplin getting home. So, yeah, kind of familiar with spring kind of pulling its pretty sad right back up its butt and saying, nope, winter's still here.
You know what? Let's see. I just had someone ask in the chat what they're looking at for. Oh, beautiful! This is a wonderful change. Before it wasn't supposed to start till later. Now they're pushing it up. It's actually supposed to change over to snow by 1 in the morning. Yay!
Yeah. That should be that STDY situation, Jared. Sucks to be you.
Let's.
Kitty. No, kitty. Meow. She's trying to attack my mouse.
Well, it's a mouse and she's a cat. What do you expect?
Yeah, sorry, I misspoke. Not the mouse cursor.
Even better. Winter weather advisory. Interesting. Da-da-da-da-da.
If it's any type of consolation to you, Jared, we're under a freeze warning tonight, so
1 to 6 inches, depending on area. After we got maybe 2 inches all winter combined.
Wow.
It's like, what the hell is with the bullshit? Can't nature just make up its mind, or is it trying to foster this type of shit just to fuck with us?
no, it told every state in the union that you couldn't have all 4 seasons in one day. Texas looked at Mother Nature and said, "Fuck that, hold my beer." Because
No.
in the Panhandle, it is 30 degrees. In the Midwestern, just below the Panhandle, across the Red River, it's in the 40s and 50s. Down towards CFW, back out towards El Paso, it's in the 70s and 80s. And along the coast, it's in the upper 80s.
Yeah.
All 4 seasons, one day. That's tomorrow.
Yeah, well, your state is also... Oh, Texas is also how large? So it kind of makes sense to have that sort of variety. But no. See, here's something to think about. There is a very, very apt saying in New England. Oh, you don't like the weather? Wait 5 minutes. Because...
We have a similar saying, you don't like the weather, just wait, it'll change.
Yeah. But the fact is, when we're getting the good weather, I'm stuck doing stuff that impedes other things that I would rather be doing. And then when I have the time, when I could possibly take the opportunity, then it's like, oh yeah, shit weather.
There's your motorcycle.
Interesting, but I bet it turns like shit. But then again, it is a cruiser, so yeah.
It's an Indian, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, an old 1930s, 40s one. Just look at the width of the rear tire.
1951 Indian Warrior.
So yeah, late 40s design. Because it's just... Some things progressed in a good way, but not so much in others.
No. Now, this is Jared tomorrow.
Now. Sadly, no. Would I give it a try if I had the equipment and the space? Probably.
Kitty, no, don't press that.
I'm smoking some ribs tomorrow.
Yeah. I still liked that smoked honey baked ham that I had. What was that, earlier this week? Yeah, that was tasty.
What was it? I just tried. Dunkin's has got a snack. You can get maple bacon, black pepper bacon as a snack side.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing, that's sweet.
So double bacon?
Sure.
Double bacon is good.
Well, it's got the maple glaze on it, so it's sweet.
You know, sometimes they can end up overdoing that.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
Yeah.
God. Was it a while back? Dunkin' Donuts tried something like that where they did a maple bacon, and it was actually sickeningly sweet. It was just way too much. Because that's the thing. Sometimes you got to remember, people. There is such a thing as too much of a good thing.
Yes, there is.
Not everyone wants the diabetes just from looking at something. But of course, it's going to be it's quite the busy night I've seen otherwise, and what I found really interesting is I wonder how much of a rehash of the stream earlier today is actually taking place right now on the shills,
Oh yeah.
because they managed to wrangle Reds in Astronomy Live.
Was that the debate between Katz and the other guy?
No.
Oh,
Reds and Astronomy Live were live on Red's channel earlier today, and they're live again right now on the shills.
oh.
Ooh.
Sounds,
What did you think I was referring to?
well, I didn't catch all of it because I had a kid, so yeah. I had to take the earphones out.
Excuses. That's all you got, excuses.
Bite and me, Jared. Bite and me.
But why when there's a wonderful pussy on screen?
Yes, sir. She's watching the mouse cursor.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for the SWAT to happen.
Oh, she will. She's watching.
See, this is what we get down to, people, when a lot of us when we've been cooped up too much. Playing with cats and our computer screens.
She's a cute guy.
Yep, I've seen that one before, and yeah. Yep, that can happen in Thailand rather easily.
Well, hey, Jared, did you get the update on the status of the Pacific Fleet?
Oh, how they're fucked?
Like, yeah. But it gets even better. Apparently, the captain of the Nimitz has sent something out.
Uh-oh.
Okay, I didn't get to catch all of it because it was just a news clip that popped up here. But I have been looking for that, and I'm like, wait a second, is the captain of the Nimitz something out? And the Nimitz currently has COVID on it, along with the Roosevelt and the Vincent.
Let's just face it and put it in perspective. A virus outbreak on any military vessel,
You're screwed.
yeah.
Because everybody's going to get it.
Yeah, it's not a question of if, it's a question of when at that point.
Because there's no way to contain this stuff. I mean,
no, even on a carrier,
operational.
like even on a carrier, people are like, "Oh, but the ship is so big." It's like, yeah, and there's over 5,000 people on it.
Yeah, I'll admit, I joke. I joke with carrier people when they show their berthing space, and I make the joking remark of how spacious it is, because it is spacious compared to a submarine berthing. However, it's not that much more space.
No. Well, it's like it's enough room to where you can walk between the racks, just in a straight line. You don't have to sidestep any. Or don't have to step on any cans that are also food storage.
Yes.
Kitty.
I'll play around, but I'll be serious in this case. You know, even service ships are packed in.
Some of them just as bad. Some of them.
If the Navy's going to waste space anywhere, it's going to be in the engineering department. Let's face it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh mercy!
And even then, it's not wasting space in that area. It's actually strategic for service and maintenance purposes.
Oh no! It could be wasted space. So.
Hey,
Did
Jared.
I ever joke with you how they designed the Los Angeles class? Is they handed it to all the nuclear engineering people who designed the reactor plant, then they put a bulkhead and shoved the rest of the stuff everywhere else.
Well, it
Because
doesn't.
you could go back aft, and there were like gigantic voids like out in the pipes and stuff, like where there's just nothing out there. In fact, there was one spot I thought was hilarious because I was help cleaning up pre-Orse one time, and I found this void outboard, starboard outboard in main seawater. There's this gigantic void out there. There's a couple of small valves in the area, and then my funny thing about this was finding a light fixture in there. This is a void with a light fixture. And all I could think of was we had this electrician's mate, this Nuke EM, who was in charge of changing the lights back in engineering. Like that was his job. Was any lights went out, he was the one who replaced it. And a guy named Gilmer, and he was huge.
One other one.
And I was just laughing. There's no way he could even get
what was that space used for otherwise?
It wasn't used for anything. It was literally you climbed through these pipes, and then suddenly there was just a big opening there.
Huh.
Where I guess they just didn't need the routing pipe, so it's just a big opening. Because seriously, when they designed the Los Angeles class, the nuclear propulsion people laid out everything they needed in the aft, and then they put a bulkhead there, and then they packed everything else in the front.
Nice. Oh, LRJ88 makes a good point. Other things that can happen in Thailand.
Yeah, but the results aren't always, shall we say, visually appealing.
That's where they have a support group for that.
But the outside of the arms, like really, who does that on the outside of the arms?
Yeah.
Oh, for the people who may be lost, there's a great show you should watch, and yes, I mean, go watch it all in one shot if you're able. Backstreet Girls. It's on Netflix. To say that we're surprised that it got through the censors, understatement.
Not like what we were watching last night.
Oh yeah, and then we have Kaijo going on too. We go from one extreme to another. Although you do have to give Backstreet Girls something, even though it was ridiculously over the top and really pushed the limits. It's actually well written for what it is.
There you go, Kenny.
Yes, we have people who seem to specialize in finding odd, off-the-wall, sometimes creepy, sometimes hilarious anime.
Oh yeah, especially with Kaijo. Because BM Furball couldn't stop watching it.
Oh, no, his which, here's the thing, he will be available and joining us later. We will have to ask him about his opinion. Not so much of that, but we'll have to ask him if he's gone back and watched the beginning of that other series yet.
And I was telling LRJ88 earlier, I got the high def version of it now.
Oh, every flat earther right there.
What's this?
Read what Tech is sharing.
I'm looking at it now.
Is that from Happiness and Cyanide?
Yes.
Oh, that's good.
Hey, we got Ire out there. Most of us are keeping as well as we can without going insane. Remember, all work and no play makes Jack a really, really dull boy. Ooh, maybe that's what we should watch on Wednesday. The Shining.
Ooh.
That would be interesting. Which, yes, for anyone who wasn't here for the announcement last week, yes, in the Discord server, dealing with the wonderful cooped up craziness that a lot of people have been dealing with, we've decided to have some fun by watching The Mandalorian Tuesday evenings, a random movie or two Wednesday evening, and TNG Thursday evening. And this upcoming Wednesday, we just might go with The Shining. Let's really embrace the cabin fever.
No, we gotta watch Batman Lego Movie.
No, because see, if y'all watch Lego
Why?
Man or y'all watch Lego Batman, my kids would take over the laptop, the computer, my cell phones, and everything else just to watch all that.
Well, you don't show up for them anyway, so you don't have to worry about it.
Well, part of the reason why I don't show up for them is that the one time I actually did, I caught every fifth word out of the captain's log for TNG Thursday. So that latency issue is a bitch.
At least you don't have the lag issue that Craig has, which is between the ears. I still give him shit about that. Apparently, the delay has gotten better, because there was a stream that they did last week, beginning of this week, where they did the test again, and Craig was really excited. FTFE really wanted to say, hey, it's fixed. I don't have that much lag anymore. And it was noticeably delayed.
Well, if he would stop downloading porn in the background.
You said it, not me.
Yeah. Might have The Shining in 720 if that. Ooh, well, that's it. It's lower quality high def, but it's still high def.
It's true.
Now
Uh-oh.
let's see what's going on here.
Getting off the space bar. He wants to sit on the keyboard and chase the mouse cursor.
Oh, of course, because
Got one of her toys up here just so to keep her off the monitor. I don't have scratch marks on my monitor, thank you.
yet
Yeah.
give it time, it'll happen.
I'll have to put plexiglass all over my monitor.
Although, aren't there actually tablet apps designed for
Yes.
cats to play with like that?
Yes, there is, and she would probably love it. I'd have to get my bigger tablet for that then. Kitty, down. He's chewing her toy right now.
Oh.
Here, have any of y'all been to like a gas station and actually dared to go inside lately?
I rarely do that when there isn't a pandemic.
So, I went in last week for my alcohol. Actually, I went in Tuesday for my alcohol and some tobacco. And I walked into my normal store, and there is this wonderful 1/16 inch thick piece of plexiglass hanging all the way down to 3.5 inches above the counter. There's no way a fifth fits in that or under that. At least not in my bottle anyway, but that's the point.
You
So I look at the lady and I'm like, is there a way for me to just lift the plexiglass up and then, you slide it underneath and I'll gently lay it back down? She's like, no, unfortunately, you have to step back 8 feet and I have to put the bottle on the ground after you pay for it.
What the fuck?
Yeah, that was what she said. And I was like, the fuck.
Someone wasn't thinking.
That's an understatement because okay, I understand why they would try to make everything like the sneeze guard from the buffet that never actually worked because how many motherfuckers would put their head under it to begin with? But
Yeah.
Let's face it, someone was laying down and thinking, well, that's enough space for money to fit through.
Yeah.
pretty much.
I'm drugging my cat right now.
Oh, but it's gotten so bad up here. People are so paranoid about it. That the stores are refusing cash. They take only credit cards.
Wow.
I should not.
When was the
I mean,
last
I
time
was-
I used
you know-
cash?
This morning, for me, at least.
Well, I mean, I looked at the lady and would you rather we exchange rolls of toilet paper for you? You know, just saying.
I have the same bill in my wallet that's been in there since about November, I think.
Maybe that's the cure of the coronavirus.
You know, there is something that just came to mind. There was a PSA a while. These are not pockets.
Oh yes.
You remember that one?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, they stuff their cell phone or their wallet or cash.
Cell phone, wallet, cards, ID, everything. You have a so inclined person of the female persuasion with a ample enough size bosom, yeah, they become pockets.
Shocked they haven't put pockets on, their undergarments for that.
Well, here's the fucked up thing. For those who actually pay attention to their significant others and the complaints that come about, why is it such a novelty for them to find an article of clothing with usable pockets?
LRJ88. Yes, titties can be weapons too.
Mm-hmm. Well, thankfully, my wife was smart enough to never use her titties for a wallet.
My wife doesn't either, so.
Yeah, what do they call it? Boob sweat.
Yeah, we're talking. We're hang on a second.
My wife has made comments about other women who do it.
The bras and use the bras as wallet. Like I said, the subject, and it's an actual thing too.
I know women do that.
Huh?
I know women do that. I don't mind women doing it.
Well, because you ain't got boobies to begin with, so. Well, when we met, she was an A cup. Okay, she walked down the aisle.
We had so much harassment when we went into town. Oh
Yeah.
my God.
When we got married, she was a B cup, but we walked down the aisle. Well, she walked down the aisle 4.5 months pregnant. And now she's finally crested into a C cup after 20 years of marriage.
Oh.
She's in here listening and smiling about it because she knows it's true.
But in the live chat, LRJ88, we're getting a murder tonight live.
So she's smiling about it because she knows it's true. It's LRJ88 in the chat. Come and read the chat if you can. Here.
Oh.
I am not reading that question aloud.
Oh.
Wait. So here's a question. And this is for our wonderful friend out there in the live chat. I take it you got inspired by some of what you saw in Kaijo last night. Do we need to find Cerebus and Sycamania?
Oh my goodness. No. It's the W acceleration.
That was so wrong, but so hilarious.
Yeah.
Yes. For people of a particular comedic mindset, you gotta watch that show. If you can find all of the episodes in the English dubbed version, it's even better. Because here's the thing that was rather surprising. They really didn't change any of the lines at all from the actual Japanese to the English dub. And I still want to know what the hell the voice actors were thinking when they were reading their lines.
Yeah.
Oh, the nutty professor, the grandma.
Oh yeah.
To be honest, the voice actors were probably thinking, "I'm getting paid for this."
Oh no, some of the lines were. Let's put it this way: they would make Archer Sterling blush.
Yeah, its phrasing was the key.
Flat like a pancake makes for great skydiving. Wow. What is wrong with us? There's got to be something wrong with us. I just don't know what it is yet. I may never know. Not that that's a bad thing.
Oh no! What's he saying?
The ever unfiltered Granny Clump tells of how she thought she was having a heart attack in the shower due to having a sharp pain in her chest. Turns out, I bent over and looked, and I was standing on my own titty. Both feet, too!
Oh.
And this is what Eddie Murphy has brought to a borderline kids movie.
What is it that Jeff Dunham said with Walter one time? Those aren't knockers anymore; they're flappers.
Yeah, I remember that one. Oh.
You know, I know Dunham has a new thing that he's doing on one of the streaming services. I just haven't watched it. And has anyone here seen any of it?
I've watched him. He's been doing some live streams where because he's been building a new puppet because he's got a new character he's working on who's going to be an internet troll.
Oh no!
Oh wow! There are so many directions that could go. I wonder, is it going to be wearing a bandana and a backwards cap?
It almost looks very like troll doll like-ish, though, with like, I don't know, maybe an uglier face. And he's got the idea where it's going to be able to hold like a phone in its hand, and its thumbs will be able to move and stuff. And
ooh,
he hasn't like performed with it yet. He's actually been building it. So.
Side Strikling's on.
Yay! Well, she's going to be back to work soon, from what I heard. Well, one of the few that they're keeping at work.
Oh wow, even more. Sorry. Comic-Con's canceled. LA Anime Expo's been canceled.
Oh yeah, pretty much every event until the middle of June, at least, has been canceled or postponed with a date to be determined. Which I do kind of understand why, but at the same time, it's like, had y'all motherfuckers behaved in the first place, we'd probably be on the actual downswing of this and be, I don't know, able to get back to regular normalcy in a couple weeks. But no, it's going to be a couple more months.
Or longer.
I hope not longer, because here's the thing. My main concern isn't the disease itself. It's the massive pullback from societal interaction and just daily transactions, and what is going to happen with the economy globally. That's especially with all the I want to call it pseudo forgiveness that a lot of companies and everything have been mentioning and doing. It's there's got to be a catch. There's going to be something on the back end, and what is the actual fallout going to be?
Yeah.
Well, some of the forgiveness, like the insurance giving refunds and stuff, that actually wasn't so much like there's going to be fallout from it. That was them being proactive.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's already happened in California, and that's the effect of it when they're taking the most state regulations are kind of have stuff ingrained that they're expecting the assurance companies to have to do X percentages of payouts, and when nobody's driving, they're not doing these payouts, and when they're taking the same premiums,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to cause state regulators to step in and force refunds. That's the only reason they're refunding is basically they're refunding so the state regulators won't come in and tell them to.
Yeah, there are some things that I'm a hard no on. That's one of them. Burns probably would know the term. Gush gush.
Sounds familiar, but I can't place it.
Think real like okay, Backstreet Girls was bad anime.
Oh, yeah.
And that's just even worse. Oh, okay, I'm not familiar with the Ultimate Muscle Roller, and I'm not sure if I want to be if you're following up Gush Gush with that.
It could be worse. It could be Vacuum Butt Cannon.
That you know, there is an endearing quality to that show. It's so innocently not innocent. We look at normalcy then.
Yep, I heard about that.
Yeah.
But it's restricted to people who are going to be walking, running, and general exercise, but no actual, I think, no actual sunbathing, things like that.
Well, here's something interesting to think about. Up here, it took them until a week ago to close the golf courses.
Oh, jeez.
And amongst that time, a couple friends of mine who are avid campers, they closed the campgrounds, but kept the golf courses open.
What the hell?
Now, there is talk of the campgrounds being able to open by the end of the month. A couple of the neighboring states are actually entertaining or have already said they're going to. But there's a catch. In-state residents only.
Yep. A lot of the neighboring states from where I'm at are because our state liquor and wine spirits are closed. People are going out of state to get wines and spirits.
They kept the AB3 stores here open, so.
Oh, okay, hang on. Let me take a look at this. Talk amongst yourselves. Because I'm not sharing this over the air because I don't know what I'm getting into.
First, I think our state's response has been well, and I attribute it to the fact that, well, our governor is, a former doctor, so.
That helps, I hope. Yeah, our state and I think some of the surrounding states, just like it's part of that New York conglomeration. They're trying to help each other out.
Okay, just listen to this music.
Don't think I know that one.
Wow. It is Ultimate Muscle Roller Legend. Kind of reminds me of Ace and Gary, the amazing duo.
Oh, okay.
Except, yeah.
Yeah.
Why? 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 Okay, not why would someone find it and then decide to remember it and share it later because, well, Rule 34 is a thing. But why would someone create that in the first place? Wait. Alt-right protests? What protests? That's the thing. I've...
Is he talking about the protests of those people like protesting closures?
No.
We had a massive protest to them in Richmond earlier this week. Yeah, the whole 50 people showed up.
Now, I did hear about a protest, not sure what the hell they were protesting, but a bunch of people gathered, were sitting in their cars as part of the protest, and then said, fuck it, let's get out of the cars and walk around together. Yeah, I did. If your protest is remembered for something as inane as that, you kind of missed the point of actually getting your message across. Okay, yeah, ML2 actually apparently knows about it, said, think that they're morons. Parts of Michigan's restrictions regarding closures are slightly over the top, but the response should not be to defy the whole thing. Yeah, friend of mine that I served with has been really on edge about a lot of the mandates and everything, and about a lot of things that have been attempted by government agencies and all of this. But some of it has been a bit of misinformation. Really? You got some chocolate cake?
Yes, I do. I have chocolate cake.
Oh, okay. Just don't let Antonia know about it.
Oh, I'm gonna let the whole world know. I'm gonna say it on YouTube. I have chocolate cake.
But is it daytime there or is it nighttime?
It's nighttime.
Sexy.
And it is pretty dark outside.
Yeah, I think you completely missed that entire line of questioning. Do I need to play? Do we need to play a particular music video?
Probably, but I can't see it. You gotta remember that.
Daytime, nighttime. Come on, even you gotta remember that one there, you wished.
No, I've been drunk since then.
Really? You don't remember the borderline homosexual music video that Antonio Subarats was the star of?
Oh,
I have an unlisted copy of that mirrored on my channel.
I forgot about that one. I've got to go back and rewatch that.
Well, Tech can get a link to it for you. It's on Bash Prompt's channel. That's...
And there's a whole bunch of unlisted copies. I am by no means the only...
Oh, no. Oh, no.
There is no way that video is ever going away.
But see, you can't say Antonio Subarats one more time or else he'll appear in the chat threatening to sue everybody.
Believe it or not, I haven't heard of him chiming in on any of the shenanigans lately. There is a working theorem out there that he actually contracted it himself and it just went radio silent rather than have to go counter to a lot of the other talking, flopping heads that he associates with.
Oh, wow. I can understand, certain viewpoints that, COVID isn't real, this is a government conspiracy and all that, and I've seen a lot of it. But at the same time, I'm like, dude, there are actual people dropping dead of this. Joe Diffie is top of my list. Because, let's face it, I'm a pickup man, okay? Just saying.
Yes, but does she think your tractor's sexy?
Hey, babe. Question. Do you think my tractor's sexy?
I posted the link in chat. By the time it was the first time I've looked at that video since some of the YouTube changes, and it's asking if the video is made for kids.
That's a hard no.
Yes, it's made for kids.
Question. Because we're talking about COVID and Joe Diffie dying, and of course I'm a pickup man. So they asked if you think my tractor's sexy. Hey Jared, speaking of, she thinks my tractor's sexy. Have you heard the knockoff song by Cletus T. Judd about that?
Oh, I forgot about that one.
Oh yeah, it's been a while since I've heard it, but I am aware of it. Because that's the thing.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize Cletus is the country version of Weird Al.
Yes.
Although I'm torn because part of me really wanted to hear a My Corona song, but at the same time, you gotta give Weird Al credit for not going to that level with the situation that's been going on.
Well, he already did a parody of that one anyway, so
He's already done that. He doesn't double dip on his parodies.
Maya Bologna.
True.
Yep.
Yeah, but
and then of course there's the trilogy begins, knockoff of
The saga begins.
yeah, the
saga
saga begins.
Yeah.
Which I'm actually surprised he didn't make that one longer to actually match the original length of the song he was parodying. But then
I
again,
always found it phenomenal about that is he wrote that song before he saw the movie, and he based all of it off of like stuff he saw in trailers and teaser stuff.
and he wasn't wrong.
No.
But at the same time, that's the thing. Some of the newer movies and latest media that's come out has actually given reason to look back on things like Star Trek Voyager, the prequel trilogy, and realize they weren't that bad after all.
Have you seen the new Dune reboot logo?
I haven't seen the logo. I've seen some of the set pictures. And what the hell is with that armor? And did you see those, Tech? The pictures that they have of the Atreides armor?
Not yet, but
Oh. I mean, just think about it that way. Dune universe, they're using armored suits.
Well, of course, you don't have Sting in it as the pretty playboy for House Harkonnen.
Oh, I'm not even sure. Huh?
you know, I'm trying to figure out if Paul Atreides is going to have to save the cheerleader to save the world, or if he's going to die 7 days after watching it.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to go with the cheerleader.
You know, that's the sad thing is that when I think of Linda Hunt in her roles in movies, okay, there's only two that come to mind. A failed Robin Williams comedy and Dune.
Wait. There's a failed Robin Williams comedy?
Yeah. It was an attempted comedy. It ended up being a musical, and it failed.
Define fail.
Kelly Duvall, you're thinking of Popeye.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
See, I didn't see that one as a failure, but then again, I only watched it as a kid.
It failed in the box office, but it does have a cult following, so it kind of depends what you mean by fail.
I mean, but we're talking about box office failures, though.
There's been several movies, though, that have failed at the box office, but have subsequently become pretty popular as cult classics.
Yeah.
Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's like the shining example that a lot of them strive to be, because shit, if it wasn't for freaking COVID bullshit going on, guaranteed there'd be a midnight showing somewhere in some theater that is an interactive viewing of it.
Every Friday night in Texas and Dallas.
Yeah, there's tons of theater I know that did like midnight showings of it. So.
Oh yeah, it's like a big sing-along too, which is disturbing. But I went to one once. It was really disturbing.
You have to admit, it is rather interesting to see Tim Curry in drag.
Yeah.
Yes, the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
That was the movie that launched his career.
That's two movies they never could have found anybody else to really do that part as well. Rocky Horror Picture Show, or when he played Pennywise in the It miniseries.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, we went and saw a local band group did the Rocky Horror Picture Show live. That was fun to watch.
Yeah. Although, here's a question for you. Tim Curry or the new version of Pennywise?
Oh, yes.
Tim Curry, all the way.
See, I can...
They're different Pennywises, so I'm not going to really choose between them.
Yeah, well, and that's where I was going to go, is like, I appreciate each of them for what they are, because when you look at the two recent movies, that characterization, that portrayal of Pennywise fit that setting perfectly.
Oh, yeah. Well, then you got to watch Epic Rap Battle, Joker versus Pennywise.
Pennywise.
Have you ever seen that one?
Oh, that is epic.
Yes, I'm glad they've kept up the policy of not including the gangbang scene in any of the video portrayals.
Yeah, they mentioned that in the rap.
Yes.
Because
I have read the book. I read the book long before I saw it.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to portray that on screen while keeping the characters the ages they're supposed to be.
Oh, yes.
But then again, I don't know why I have to keep reminding some people of this. Stephen King did his best work like that on some illicit drug or another. So don't be surprised when fucked up shit like that happens in his books, because he was on some really, really good stuff.
He unlocked that potential.
Well, I mean, did any of y'all ever read like Cujo or Firestarter?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, good lord, man!
Well, let me put it.
Books, but these didn't exactly live up to expectation, though.
Well, okay. So let's remember here for a second. My introduction to Stephen King from reading any of his books was his first writer's release of The Stand. And
I like that.
Yeah, but think about your introduction to his writing, being that book, and not just the fact that it was just that book, but the fact that it was the book that has the additional 200 pages of material to it.
Mhm. Now that would be kind of a difficult read because it would be so long for me, but it would still be, it would still be a good book. The Stand I haven't read yet. I've been planning to. I just haven't found a copy of it yet.
I gotcha.
It's a long book too.
I may just sit down and buy it and say fuck it.
There we go. I found our quarantine mask.
All right. Yeah, I can accept that one.
Walk into a grocery store wearing that getup.
Just walk into a grocery store dressed as Michael Myers.
Oh,
there is the mask that is not N95 approved, but Blizzard, as in the actual gaming company Activision Blizzard, has actually capitalized on this COVID thing. And I never thought it possible for a game company to do this. They got the medical mask with the Horde or Alliance symbols on them.
Oh yeah.
That doesn't surprise me.
Is everybody trying to cure up this crap?
Oh, businesses still need to make money to survive, so I'm not surprised in the least. And hell, there's someone out there who decided, hey, you know what would be great on a reusable, washable mask? Let's put a bunch of cartoon dicks on them.
Dick butt.
No, not even dick butt, just straight up cartoon stylized, odd rainbow of colored dick and balls.
That needs the Deuce Bigelow European Gigolo thing added to
it. Yeah, sorry, but when you're in the middle of a pandemic and someone is like, hey, I know a way to provide this service and yet profit off of it, let's sell this and let's put some dicks all over it. Yeah, because that is the type of society we are dealing with, people. That is what we have to contend with. Screw Flat Earth, screw the anti-vaxxers. Well, wait, no, they'll take care of themselves in a way.
There you go.
But yeah, see, that is at least kind of cute, little funny. But
hang on, let's see what else I got here. Hey, there you go.
Again, that I can deal with. It's pretty funny. Of course, Deadpool was going to be one of the first ones. Oh my God! Hang on. Scroll back up. Second in from the right.
This one here. Oh no, right. Oh, this one.
That
from Beetlejuice.
Good call.
Oh no, this worked.
Need the Nick Cage mask down there.
Wait. Oh my God.
Nick Cage match. Which one are we looking at here?
Top right.
Oh, there it is. That's it.
No, it's a bumper sticker, but you need to make it a mask.
It probably could.
There you go. Oh no, there's your mask.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Huh?
I don't want to know.
Yeah, some of these are just really make you.
They're all made in China.
Don't. Probably, and that is honestly the sad part. Is, hey, the place that is pretty much trying to screw the world is going to end up profiting the most, maybe.
Probably. Hey.
Oh, Radical.
Yeah. Yep. Let's see. There we go.
Yeah, I've seen ones like that before.
Any Bane masks in there?
I'm sure there is.
Oh, give it time. Give it time. You'll come across it.
What the hell? That's a crocheted mask.
What is that even supposed to be?
No clue. No clue. Oh, I like that.
Hang on. I'm gonna. Let's go ahead and risk it and do this.
Uh-oh. This can't be good.
Oh, no, it's
But it's got electric light. It's what plants need. I'm still very upset with the world that they have made Idiocracy into a documentary.
Brought to you by, what was it, Carl's Jr.
Yes.
Yeah, I get paid for it every time I say their name.
Yeah, note to self, do not do the search term that I just did, because the beginning of it is going to be fascinating. Now, granted, you have to have safe search off, but
Well, yeah, Jared, but not everybody lets their kids surf the internet child porn.
yeah, no, that's not what the search was for.
LRJ88. Did we get to choose who's in the control group? Because I can come up with some ideas.
Oh, boy.
Get together and make a list.
Do I want to know what Jared's looking up?
No, hang on. Let's do that. Let's do this. Because I have a feeling that somebody out there would enjoy this one.
Oh my goodness. Oh.
Volchinian.
Volchinian, yep.
Oh no, I found the I found the one that I was looking for otherwise.
Oh no.
Nope.
Oh, that one. There it is. Yep. That'll definitely have people do a double take at you.
Yeah.
That's the kind that people wouldn't. It's not so blatant that the first people wouldn't necessarily notice.
Sure about that?
Well, think about it. People will glance at it. They wouldn't necessarily think about it. And then something would like gnaw at the back of their mind to make them maybe, but they wouldn't really know at first. You know, they'd have to actually go back and look.
Well, I'm going to get off of here. The chocolate cake is done. So I'm going to go enjoy some chocolate cake.
Sure.
Uh-huh. What was in the oven, 20 minutes before we started, so, yeah.
You know what, Mark? I think I would have to agree with you on that. Although the question is the tramp stamp a butterfly, a tribal, or a tribal butterfly?
The butterfly now, when she's in her 70s, it'll be a buzzard.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll catch y'all next week.
Later.
Ooh.
I mean, that you do have a point there. I mean, that very well is the likely view of it. Although it does. Thinking, oh, what'd you find now?
Oh, look at what LRJ88 posted.
Maybe just an
Yes.
arrow. Oh.
Katie, what a beer ball.
Or then again, I almost I'm waiting for someone to actually do this on a dare and follow through with it. They get an M on each cheek. That way, when they bend over, it says "Mom," but when they lay on their back, it says "Wow." Or yes, anamorphic mind. That one would work too.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So how rapidly did we? It's just what the hell happened? How did we go from comedic looking masks to that?
We're military veterans.
True. True.
LRJ88's newest one. Pull the plug when done.
Wait, I thought it was put the plug back when done. I guess it depends which plug you're talking about.
Oh boy.
Again, all the things that are out there, and that's what we can. No. Just no.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that it just. I don't know whether to be worried or astounded at some of the people that we know at this point.
What about a red triangle that says danger intake?
That would work too. And actually, that would really be accurate because that could be on both sides. Although it does bring new meaning to the term "blow it out your ass."
Oh. Deflate after use. Oh.
There we go. Sorry. Damn pile of shit in front of my fridge. There we go. I think this might actually be my last one. That kind of sucks.
Yep. Means you gotta go for a beer run, right?
And not tonight, though.
Gotta go suit up, get that mop 4 gear out.
You know, if anyone has any handy, I would actually fully suit up, go somewhere to buy something, but actually have my camera hidden in such a place that we could actually record people's reactions. That could be fun. But sadly, I don't have the gear. I don't have the equipment anymore.
No. Or get the gear they had on what's that movie? Outbreak. The yellow suits.
Oh, yes. Well, now that You Wished is gone, we can actually get to what a better topic was actually going to be. Although I am expanding it beyond just what it was initially portrayed and phrased as. And actually, I kind of wanted some of the couple other regulars here to begin with because, they got stories. Because it was boot camp fuck-ups was what it initially was. But how about just fucked up shit you saw, whether or not the people got away with it when you were in? It can be benign, it could be border, or if you want, how about something you did while you were in, and now that, statute of limitations, you got away with it.
Define benign, because we're going back to boot camp. I remember I was a section leader in boot camp. And I remember I had this one guy in my, he was fucking dumb as God, he was fucking dumb as rocks. And I remember the division, our division chief was there. He was a senior chief, and actually held up the card with the senior chief rank up to this guy, and asked him what rank it was, and the guy said lieutenant.
Ooh.
And all I have to
What?
say is I was down in DSIT the next morning at like 3 a.m. at the sidewalk with him, getting my ass.
But
I can tell you much right now. It is not very fun being a section leader down in DSIT.
no,
I don't know if you had that in Great Lakes. DSIT was Division Sidewalk Intensive Training.
oh, there was something similar to it, except
Probably had something similar. I don't know if you had that exact.
it wasn't
term, but-
outside. It was down on the quarterdeck, or just off of the quarterdeck of the building itself. Which, here's the thing, this will show you just how often I went through there. I knew it existed. I did not see it until after pass and review.
I went through it, not directly because of my fucked up, but because someone under my command fucked up, and as you know, the shit rolls uphill. So
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of the boot camp ones, and wonderful examples of people who actually end up joining the military. My introduction to a Filipino chief. We were 2 weeks away from battle stations, 2 weeks away from the final coup de grace. And I don't know what time it was, but in the middle of the night, we start hearing this yelling. Where it's, "What the fuck you doing, recruit? What the fuck is it? Whose fucking boots are these?" It's like, oh crap. Oh crap. The caricatures were right. Oh my god. The lights come on. You see this little, when I say little, I mean like barely over 5 foot tall chief running around, just screaming and yelling at this guy. And want to know what he found? Someone had a Snickers in their boot.
Ooh.
mhm.
And the tall, gangly motherfucker who the boot belonged to did not know how to respond, and that just made it worse.
Oh, 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 oh.
The kicker is twofold. One, the chief also noticed that, his combination lock was unlocked.
Oh, security violation.
So he started ripping out the drawers from the side locker that he had. There was one that wouldn't come out all the way. So the chief went to kick it. He kicked it all right, but also probably busted his own toe doing it. And here's the icing on the cake. There was a calm in the middle of all the chaos, to where this chief asked him, "What do they call you, recruit?"
Oh, no.
Huh? No. What do people call you? Well, they call me Cornbread. Who the fuck gave you that nickname? I actually did.
Oh.
Motherfucker gave himself the nickname Cornbread. Tall, lanky motherfucker from some city. It was either in the greater Atlanta area or outside of Houston. One of the fucking two. And here's what really blew my mind about this is the chief didn't know what to say at that point. He just ended up walking out. It's like, wait a minute. I need a minute.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, and a Morphic Mind. I mean the actual candy bar. And not just one of the regular size candy bars, not even one of the miniatures or fun size candy bars. I'm talking motherfucking king size candy bar, which he had bought at the PX at the Next there on base in one of the visits that we had. How the fuck he hit it and it lasted that long? Because it had been a few days. Beyond fucking me.
Remember, we had one of our company competitors who just did not want to piss off. It was FC1 Sawyer. He was a SWDV. I mean, the guy could flip a rack with one hand.
Wow.
We used to joke he wore birth control glasses. We used to joke the only reason he wore birth control glasses is go out to the bar and like beat people up if they said something. I mean, we had a lot of DVs, unfortunately, in my division. So, remember the senior chief was a DV.
I wonder how that ended up happening.
I don't know.
Just timing. Well, then again, when you
I just remember like the time I was in DSIT, the senior chief showed up at the end of it, and our last part of the DSIT, it was like they were running us down the entire length of the sidewalk of Recruit Training Command in Orlando, and back again. And his basically thing was like, we were gonna have to keep doing it until he doesn't catch up with us, basically. That took about 3 times. And to be honest, I think he let us the last time.
Yeah. Although that was the thing. My RDCs, they could pass a PRT. They could pass the readiness test, but they weren't like top 1%ers. They were good enough to be qualified for the program to be an RDC, but they were very average, which I found interesting because there was, when it came to the run, like running, the endurance portion of it, they could do well enough, but they were never intimidating in that aspect. They had the mental game. They had the, I'm going to say fucked up shit to you and make you wonder, is he joking? Which, of course, I knew all of the entire time they were. But it was still fucking hilarious. Oh, Jerry, here's the thing. This was before that ad campaign, because this was back in 2002. Why did LRJ88 have to go there? Why, you know what, Burns? I'm blaming you.
What did I do?
You're just as guilty as he is. See, that's something you should be used to. Someone else fucks up, you get blamed for it.
Because I'm talking about running to the other end of that and back.
Yeah, as a diver, diver qual. Yeah, he let you after the 3rd time.
Oh damn!
We
Actually,
were in Division 5. We were running to the division on the opposite side, and then back.
now, that actually is probably about as far as the mega building was in Pensacola. which I forget why I was walking around it, but I actually stumbled across part of the Air Force training section of the building,
Mhm.
and they had an F-16 in there. That, I'll admit, that bird is smaller than I expected.
F-16, yeah, F-16 is actually kind of small.
Super
Smaller
jet.
than you think.
Well, but here's what's interesting. I think Streamlabs is screwed up because we did not get a notification across the OBS.
Yeah.
Ah, there it is.
There you go.
And from ML2, stimulus check plus paycheck on same day, and not having to pay for expenses of living in Albany and likely completion of PhD thesis by the end of May equals larger super chat donations this week. Well, thank you, good sir. By the way, I think you might have to worry about what LRJ88 has been up to. I think he has some notorious things he's going to be trying to push on you later. Not saying I'm going to warn you, but I'm going to warn you.
So here's the aerial view for better scale. So you're running from, this is my division building up here was here.
Mm-hmm.
So you're running all the way down here, turning around here, and then running all the way back.
Oh, yeah. Fuck that. So what, down and back 3 times, that probably ended up being what, 2.5 miles?
I have no idea. That's a good question. Let's find out, because I don't. Because like these were our grinder fields over here,
Yeah.
and you were running a couple times around that for some of the PTs. So that is that is a good question. Like how far that nautical miles is not going to work. Let's do where's regular miles? There we go.
I think that should explain it enough for him.
So it's about a half a mile one way. So it's about a mile back.
So down and back is a mile.
Down is about a mile, yeah.
So yeah, you're looking close to 2 miles, easy. Down, back, down, back.
We did it 3 times. That was 3 miles running. And he
Yeah.
let us win the last. I know damn well he let us win the last time because we were carrying people. That was the thing.
Mm. I think that's going to become a new term there, butt dogs. Now, here's what's interesting. Actually, go over to Pensacola.
Back here or at a different time?
I think
I was back in '94.
No, go current day, because I'm pretty sure the building is still there.
Where am I at?
All right, so Pensacola, you want to go out towards the complete western end of the state.
Yeah, I know it's somewhere over there, but there it is. Okay.
Yep. And there's the NIS. Now you're going to go east. Yep, right in there. Yep, right there. See that massive building? That is the mega building. Oh, and this is showing pre-hurricane damage because a lot of those buildings aren't there anymore.
2016 now, so hold on now.
Yeah, so here's what's interesting. So the 4 H or I-shaped buildings there at the top, those were all Navy. The square building just to the south of the 4th one, that's what we called the hotel. That's where the Air Force was. The next pair going down, that's where the Marines were. And then the next one down, that's where it was overflow and females. And the majority of the schools were in that one building there. Now, let's do an end-to-end measurement of that building.
Which one? The big one?
Yeah.
Kitty, where's your toy?
About a quarter mile.
Yeah. And our PT lab was so where did we start it?
Where'd it go, Kitty? There it
Just
is.
came out from there. Okay. Where did we start the PT run?
Come here.
Oh, I know where. Okay, so see the there's the field
Up there.
yeah, to the left of the softball field's the actual opening of the field, not the softball field. Your other left.
Okay.
There. Yeah, that's where we would start, and the run would start from right there by the barracks. So yeah,
Is that an obstacle course order they have there now?
Yep.
It looks like.
Yeah, it is.
Guess that's
For the
probably for
Marines.
the Marines.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we started there, and on the sidewalk there, we would go to that corner, turn right, turn left, go down to the far end of the mega building, turn left, go down to the end of that, and then come back up and angle back towards back towards here. It was a hell of a run, and somehow I managed to do it in a little under 10 minutes.
What was the distance, do you know?
It was supposed to be 1.5 miles, but it was a little over.
What the hell are those things?
Firefighting training.
Firefight. That's what I was going to say. Aircraft firefighting training.
Yep.
Say.
If you zoom back a little bit.
Because I noticed they looked like planes, but they weren't like complete.
Yeah.
So
yep. If you
definitely a trainer of some sort.
Yep. So see all those buildings right
over
there?
here too.
Yep.
That'd be training.
Yep. So those buildings right there, those 4 buildings, that is the undesignated airman training location. So if you're an idiot and decide to go to the fleet undesignated and go aviation, that's where you go for training for 2.5, almost 3 weeks before you go to your boat.
Kind of like, I guess it was the equivalent of, they had like, I remember Orlando, they had AT Land. Apprentice trainee.
Yeah. Yeah, similar thing. So they have the basic fireman and basic seaman, same school type, but for those 2 groups, the undes groups, those are up in Great Lakes now. So you actually just go from RTC, you literally walk across to NTC, and you're at your undes training facility. But if you're aviation, you go down there.
Yeah, I think they just had, like Orlando, they just had the seamen and firemen in Orlando.
Yeah.
And then airmen went, so that's probably, airmen probably went there too. Come think of it, I just don't know what they did it back then.
Back then, if it wasn't there, it would have been in Millington, Tennessee. Because before a lot of the aviation A schools moved to Pensacola, they were done in Millington. But now Millington is just all personnel.
Lost, where was that? Because the base is totally unrecognizable now. So.
Millington or Orlando.
Orlando. This is where Orlando was.
Yeah. God, talk about redevelopment.
Well, Steve would know all this. Steve McRae.
Yeah.
This is where he would have gone to A school and power school at down here. And then after boot camp, I was in this barracks for BE&E. And I
basically,
think the ATs are over here. Apprentice trainees.
yeah. Yeah, the only reason why I knew about the that's where the undes guys went was because I'm a curious motherfucker, and I walked over there one day when I got out of class early.
If I can't remember, one of these barracks. Let's see, what was it? One of them was there for a while. Oh no, it wasn't those. I thought it was one of those, but maybe not. Okay. It's one of the other ones. Was it this one, maybe? No. Okay. Yeah, there was one. This building hung out for a while. Go back. This was actually the RTC medical building. And if you go to the modern times, the building's still there. It's actually used for by the Florida Department of Corrections now as a training building.
Interesting.
It is like literally that and the Navy hospital. Well, it's not a Navy hospital anymore, but those are the only two buildings that are left from the base.
Well,
This-
I must be sad
This
nobody
middle
being in the
school up
panel.
here is sitting where my high school, where my division building is.
So how'd the draft go?
Considering I had to draft for 4 teams on short notice, yeah, not bad. 2 rounds, so for some reason I couldn't get my OBS to play nice with me on doing scroll text.
Mm.
For some reason, it wanted to cut off at right after pick 21 and loop back around on pick 1 for some reason. I think now that I've saved everything, I'm going to go back through and test it and see what's going on with it.
All right. So, question for you then. Most fucked up thing that you or someone you observed did in your time in, whether they got away with it or not.
Most fucked up thing. Well, there are varying grades of fucked up on a submarine. There was the time, well, Tech will get a kick out of this. FT1 Nixon was in his rack looking at gay porn while beating it, only because he knew the messenger was coming around to wake him up and would reach his hand in the rack. And he wasn't like laying back enjoying it. No, he was on his hands and knees just going to town. I happened to be walking by the bunk that 9-man berthing just to hear the guy scream and run out, literally almost face first into missile tube 3. It was great.
See, that kind of reminds me. So,
I gotta tell you, when generally when you're getting the boat, you're first qualifying. A lot of times you do spend quite a bit of time as messenger of the watch.
Yep.
And you very quickly develop a thick skin as messenger of the watch.
gee, I wonder why.
There was the time that this was more of an innocent, fucking off type of thing. But me and the camp watch, that's the atmosphere watch for the missile tubes, who is literally stuck to missile compartment 2nd level. He can rove around that area, but he cannot move from 2nd level at all. Me and him gathered up every single paper punch hole dot we could get our hands on.
Oh no!
We rigged up a box to give to the AWEPs on his qualification, getting his LDO sub dolphins, gold dolphins, right? And we had this box. It was probably about 4 inches by 4 inches by 6 inches long. Spring / rubber band loaded to pull this paper platform, this paper tray out of it and just go everywhere. What Camp didn't realize is the only place he was going to be able to give it to him was an MCC with all the computer racks right behind him because you opened it up in the back there. Needless. Well, what's funny, what makes it even better, is that the Camp Watch actually just qualified fire control tech. So he's sitting in MCC. He turns around, sees the AWEPs coming in, doesn't think anything of it until he does a double take and sees the box, and he's like, "Oh shit." So he spent the rest of his 6-hour watch cleaning up every single one of those. And then he's like, "Well, Petty Officer Brown helped me gather up all these." And AWEPs is like, "Yeah, but I need him for nuclear weapons security guard. I ain't messing with him."
Nice.
So I heard about it. So what I did was I opened up the egress hatch between MCC and Nav Center, poked my head down, and just like, "Hey, how's it going there, Jackie?" He's like, "Fuck you."
Well, it's like,
Needless to say, all my rounds that required me to walk through second level forward to missile compartment, I avoided by going down to forward compartment third level and going in that way.
oh, that's one way to do it. So when I was on the Kitty, the way my shop was set up, the main entrance to it was actually at after the compartment from a vestibule that we shared with the shop behind us. The real pain in the ass part about this is Kitty corner all the way across the space was a non-tight door that went to the compartment in front of us. That door led right to the QA officer's desk. And someone, in their infinite wisdom, decided to put... so our shop was large enough and we got authorization for a full-size washer and dryer and a microwave and coffee station. And it all ended up back in that corner. Someone decided to have a bit of fun playing something. I forget what fucking song it was, but it is playing. It's loud. It was obnoxious. Next thing we know, that door behind the QAO busts open, smashes against the bulkhead, and we're expecting them to come in rip shit pissed. No, he fucking stripper walks, dances in, and starts going at it to the music. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? Now, mind you, this was about 3 weeks between port visits. So, yeah, to say he was stir crazy, it showed. But it was at that moment that I realized that, you know what? The LT is actually a pretty cool guy.
Yeah.
But then, other fucked up shit that happened there. When we were, every week, we would do our general quarters drill. Everyone who's attached to a repair locker, they go out and play their reindeer games. Everyone not in a repair locker, well, guess what our battle station was? Our shop, because we had to make sure the planes could keep flying. But there really wasn't much gear for us to work on or do. So we're supposed to be training during that time. We're typically watching a movie or some stupid bullshit. Our LPO comes back before completely secured. It guess his stuff got done early. And this one time he decides to just go, "Hey, Bowser, come here." Why? Just come over here. He comes out of the lounge, starts walking down the aisle, and our LPO, 6 foot, 250, big old black man, tackles this guy, who is, well, Jay, you've seen Reds, right?
Yeah.
That skinny, 5'10". Complete fucking mismatch in size and
yeah.
weight class. Just fucking tackles him, and I can still see it. All you just see arms and legs from underneath our LPO. And he's like, "Oh my god, he's on top of me! No, no!" And then you just see our LPO just start moving his hips. It's like, no, it's making it worse. And that wasn't the only time he did that, though. There's another time we're essentially dogpiling random people as they came in because why the fuck not? And CJ Bowser just walked in again. Wrong place, wrong time. He got tackled. Again. Got tackled, then a whole bunch of other people dogpiled on. And then after about a minute, people started giving him room and actually going back to doing whatever the fuck else they wanted to do. But right after the last person got off the pile and just left the LPO there again, at the bottom of it, again, the hips start gyrating. Now, there's a bit of backstory here. The LPO that I had on the Kitty Hawk, before he was there, he was at NAS Jacksonville. So was I. So was Bowser. So were easily a good dozen other people in the span of about 5 months that all transferred to the Kitty Hawk in rapid fire. So we already had a working relationship and knew each other. And come to find out, part of why our LPO really honed in on Bowser that way is apparently they transferred within a few days of each other. And during check-in, as they were going around, the LPO, Jerry said to him, was like, "Oh, this is your first time on the boat? Oh, I'm your daddy. No, you don't get it. I'm your sea daddy. You're gonna learn." It just, some of the shit that happened, I had an inkling of, just never knew just how bad it was gonna be. And yet I would do it all over again, even knowing. Because I have to admit, there is something inherently comical about seeing someone jump up onto a workbench, run down the length of it, and then do a flying tackle like they have just come off of the top rope in a WWE event to knock down a few people. Now, mind you, the chick that did this, yes, the chick who did this is about maybe 4'9", 4'10". So when
I think I've heard this one before.
Really honed in and enjoyed that whole commentary of, "I'm going to come at you like a spider monkey." And she could fucking do it, too.
So with me almost done with my bachelor's program, I've been looking at master's programs, you know. That only makes sense, right?
Yeah.
My school offers a pretty cool new media marketing that focuses on graphic design, writing, video production, marketing, etc. You know how we give JM shit for a 12-month master's?
Mm-hmm.
15 months.
15 to 18 is normal. It depends.
36 credits total.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just that there's no thesis or anything like that. But in communications, I mean, it would depend on what I'm trying to prove with my thesis, I guess.
Yeah.
Or do
Well-
I go to a brick and mortar type school like the UW and go through that?
Well, yeah, UW, you're looking at easily a 3 semester. Uh,
Yeah, and their program detail actually says that they can't just do a master's. You have to basically sign up for the PhD.
So they're getting you a hook, line, and sinker. Then you do your master's on your way to the PhD with them.
Yeah. My only other than the 15-month part for my school is going right after my bachelor's right into the master's program at the same school just seems off. Like maybe I should go to a different school and then maybe try and do my PhD at a different school after that.
Well, sometimes
Diversify the training in the field. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, sometimes that actually is a good thing to get that, but there's also a benefit of relocating at the different stages in that. Networking.
Yep.
That's where. I mean, since I got out of the Navy, which has been longer than I initially realized. I've been with three.
I know it's scary when you think about it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I've been out 20 years.
And it's like, where the hell did the time go?
Yeah.
But in that time, I've been with 3 different companies. And with the amount of time that I've spent at each one, it really doesn't seem that bad. Because I was there, I was established, I moved up to a point, and then it was time for a change of scenery. It wasn't as bad as some people who preferred the military mindset and change of pace and everything. But, oh God, what's, ooh.
Bacon.
Where?
Bacon.
No.
What do you mean, no, I
No.
just ate.
What is wrong with you? And you always got room for bacon. Even, even if it's just one strip, there's always room for bacon. Hey, we're getting more people showing up. Yay! I wonder if that's because the shills are over now. Or if
So
not,
someone
should
like
be.
someone had posted a picture where it showed them they had made bacon and made them into like face masks. And I'm sitting there having to comment going like, well, you fed off bacon to make them into face masks. Why are you leaving home?
Good point. Ooh. That is a very good response.
Bacon roses.
And she even liked it. See, she gets it. Ultimately, she gets it. Ooh, Factard, that is a great question. Asking Side Strickling, when are the photography tutorials going to start? Maybe it has. And if that's the case, I thank you very much. Because I kind of knew when I saw that Red and Astronomy Live were going to be on the shills at 8 o'clock, I was like, yeah, the first hour and a half or so are going to suck. But that's okay. I have my Angry Orchard crisp apple, and I'm happy now. Curious, what does my knee have to do with it? Jerry, we have a running joke among some of us about a time-traveling hydraulic piston. And yes, if you're not on the Discord server, go ahead and join it. We do some stuff there every now and then. Plus, it'd be the better opportunity and better way for... Oh, it's not a sex toy. Okay.
No, no. Those we keep locked up and hidden.
It looks painful.
It's a clamp for the GoPro. From the boom mic.
But you gotta admit, with the way you had it curved.
Exactly. Gotta touch all the right spots, right?
Oh, and
phrasing.
NA,
Never.
I've been trying to do better and not drink as much of the heavy stuff, and this still has a high enough alcohol content, and honestly, it's light, it's refreshing, it has a good flavor, and it's still hang on, where is
It's a trap.
it's still 5 to 8% alcohol by volume. I'll take it.
I've got a stock of a stout, so
Ooh. This is a nice gift by Tragical here.
Oh.
I don't think you guys will get the full effect of it.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
It's like the fingers actually pointed through the screen.
Oh wow.
Yeah. He was replying to Steve, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he did. I will put that into the live chat for those that want to see it up close and personal. Master of gifts.
Yeah, it's almost like there are talented people that are around and part of everything.
I mean, we have talented people in this community of ours.
Nah, I just got to make them feel better every now and then.
We'll show them last night's show.
You know, that might actually might be effective.
Yes, it will be.
What'd you guys watch yesterday?
We found another rather interesting anime to binge and let people utilize as they wish. Because at first we went with Backstreet Girls, which is, yeah, interesting to say the least. And
Okay.
I brought my first med cruise. I brought this 8mm tape. This is way before DVDs or any of that stuff. So, I brought this 8mm tape that I had a whole bunch of porn video stuff copied to, and I lent that tape out like within 2 days of getting underway. I didn't see it back till like we got back.
So, Jared, what do you think of this dance?
It had made it all the way up to the XO and back down again. So.
Wow.
Uh-huh. It looks like something from the 80s. Is that Weibo?
No, it's not. Because why would you do the Liberate America of Trump dance?
Oh, that's what that is?
Yeah.
And by the way, that's the command to get it to happen. No, I guess someone was looking for the links and stuff to join the Discord server.
That one right there?
Yeah.
Although it won't go, probably because I just did it after you. Oh, there it goes. Nice.
No, because I did it at the same time the regular timing trigger went off. Then... Okay. I see the iNetwork, but which one of you motherfuckers is it?
It's Amy, I bet.
No, I think that was Amy. Dog running around upstairs. Someone popping up. Okay, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, what did Tumblr do now? Oh, Space Time with Stuart Gary.
Oh?
Oh, yeah. Yep, it's Amy.
Okay.
I know by the way she types.
See, I'll admit I haven't paid much attention to that. I can agree with that one.
Yep.
Totally.
But see, I'm trying to remember where the base image came from.
Oh, that base image? That's Stranger Things. The last season.
See, I'll admit I haven't watched any of it. And it's on that list of I should, but I just haven't.
No,
But then again, at the same time, just not that I have to, but because I feel like it. Sometime in the next 12 hours, I'm gonna watch Star Trek 6 again. Because, you know what? I've changed my plan. I've changed my tactic a bit. I'm not gonna read the entire fucking paper. You guys are not getting off that easy this week.
Damn.
But
I mean, I have watched it several times this week.
But I have my points, and I have the comparisons, and I've pretty much made a bullet point truncation of the writing and analysis side on that aspect. There's really not much for cinematography and everything to really go in depth on like I did in the paper, but I could. More so when it came to the visual effects side of it and the usage of it. Hey, NA. Just busting.
Star Trek 6 is one of my favorite of the Star Trek movies.
Yeah. Just busting balls. I know you're not a raging alcoholic like myself. No, I prefer recovering.
I actually place it pretty close to Star Trek 2, personally.
Yeah. My top rankings go 2, 6, 4. And 2 and 6 really can be interchangeable on my mood.
I would. 6 is good, but I don't think I'd ever put it ahead of 2, personally. But that's just me.
Well, the way I look at it, yes, 2 had a bit more of the action and more of that tie-in follow-on from a quite popular episode from the original series. But at the same time, when you really look at the nuance of the writing and the recent history that it was comparing to, Star Trek 6 is exceptionally well written. And while it didn't have much for action, especially in the visual effects department on the with the hero ships and everything, it was still to date the best of the of them. And even now, like I would put its visual effects on par with First Contact in actual watching quality.
Yeah. Yeah, the Next Generation movies, First Contact's my number 1.
Yeah.
I might even place that number 3 overall. I don't know. Maybe 4.
Yeah. I'm
4 is too good to place it 3 sometimes.
And that's where if I were to pair them up, it would be 2 and 6 are really close to each other, and 4 and First Contact are really close. But it's definitely a 1 1A, 3 3A scenario there. But we can all pretty much agree that it's a coin flip between Nemesis and the motion picture for the worst.
I don't know.
I don't know about
Five's
that.
in there pretty close.
Oh, five is definitely bottom tier. But
Some of the Huber and 5 rescues it somewhat, but I'm not sure if it's enough
Not
to
much.
actually make it better than 1. I don't know.
Nemesis 1 and 5 are really in a league of their own at the bottom of the barrel. And now let's give proper introduction to the ever elusive warrant officer, which, by the way, yeah, you got to start off with one of the most fucked up stories of something you witnessed that is airable on YouTube.
Oh shit.
So nothing case related. We're talking extracurricular.
You're going to ask a security related warrant officer in the Army about something fucked.
Fucked up I've witnessed. Not job related. Interesting. You got to give me a minute for that.
So it can even go back to basic training, because that was the actual initial impetus, was most fucked up thing you saw in basic training or did.
Oh, I may have talked about this before, but the current Sergeant Major of the Army is my senior drill sergeant. So, first part of this story is the fact that in 1998, E7, Sergeant First Class Grinston was my senior drill sergeant. In 2019, 19 years later, E9 Sergeant Major becomes Sergeant Major of the Army Grinston. So if you want to know the projection for becoming an E7 to the Sergeant Major of the Army, those 2 grades take 19 years.
Wow.
Now, on top of that, as a soldier underneath Sergeant Major Grinston in basic training, I have seen him scream at people, smoke people, make them puke while doing PT. I watched him trying to encourage soldiers that were afraid of guns when we went our first day at the range, that he would talk about, it's not going to hurt you. And it was an M16. He'd fire it from the shoulders. Not going to hurt you. He fired it from his chin. He fired it from his forehead. It's not going to fucking hurt you. And then he fired it from his crotch. And he turned around in the most Rambo, as he's blowing off this ammo, firing it from his dick.
And that's the current Sergeant Major of the
Sergeant Major of the Army. Now, that's who he is. But now, if you want to go to his discipline, in the words of South Park, you rack a discipline. We went to an equal opportunity block of instruction, which we've discussed, Jared. I am now an equal opportunity representative because I've gone through the course because of Bag of Dicks. We racked a discipline, and we went through a block
follow-up story.
Oh, that's for after hours. But so we went to an EO course, basic training, privates, and we're sitting in a classroom, big classroom. All of the soldiers from the company are in there, and a female captain JAG officer walks in as our instructor for equal opportunity.
Oh.
And as she's walking across the stage, he's up there introducing her, and she walks across the stage, and someone whistled.
Oh, you dumbass.
And I this image of now Sergeant Major of the Army Grinston is burned into my memory as his neck seized and he turned towards the audience of, you motherfuckers, and didn't say a word and let the captain continue with her class. And as soon as she left the room, his only words were, outside now. And he smoked the living piss out of us for 2 fucking hours. We had to refill our canteens at least twice. Because, somebody whistled at the pretty female captain during an EO course.
And yeah, so this is my thought on what happened. The first hour was for whistling to an officer. The second hour was whistling at the officer there to give you your EO training.
I know! It's not just that you whistled at a female officer. It's for EO!
Oh. Was it worth
I
it, though?
respect that man. I did not whistle, so I cannot make that comment. I did not whistle. But I swear to God, if I run into Sergeant Major Grinston in the hallways of the Pentagon, which I pray to the Lord baby Jesus that I do someday, because I want to know if he remembers that day.
Oh, he probably does. With how recent that was, I have a bet. I am willing to bet he remembers it, and if you do get the chance to talk to him and ask him about it, I will put money down that he will start laughing about it before the conversation continues.
I'm working on it. I don't spend much time in the Pentagon these days, but if I run into that man, I've ran into several other Sergeant Major of the Armies. If I run into him, I am going to strike up a conversation because he was my senior drill sergeant. And 19 years later, he's gone up 2 grades.
And yet, here you are.
Oh, I went from E1 to E7, W1 to W3. Oh, really? You're going to pull up his profile?
Of course.
He's got the biggest, ugly Dumbo ears ever, and he admits it.
As long as he's honest about it.
Yeah. We'll see you later, ML2. So
what did I miss?
Well, a whole bunch of nonsense and shenanigans. But here's a question for you. Did you go back and watch the beginning of Backstreet Girls yet?
No, I have not.
You're still thinking about last night.
Backstreet Girls is different. I have not been hooked into Backstreet Girls because I walked into Backstreet Girls with 3 chicks peeing.
No, 2. The third one wanted to.
I'm sorry. It might have been a blur. It might have been only 2.
Wait. Was it that or was it the... No. It was right after that you were shown the training situation that involved the dog.
Oh, yeah, it was. Okay. So for the titty and boob competition, I want to watch that. I don't know why. Lord Burns, you're a dick. I don't know why.
Hey, I got the high def version now for you.
I want it in English. I found it in English. Seriously, 5 minutes ago, I had a browser open with like 18 tabs across of it because I'm like a high IQ skeptic. And one of those tabs was the English version of what we watched last night. And now I fucking closed it. So I got to find it again.
You forgot to bookmark it.
Just check your browser history. It should be in there somewhere.
Oh, it's in there. I have no doubt. And that's something I do want to watch because it's only 1 season. You're not going to lose that much of your life. Yeah. And it's, there's, no, just no.
No, but I can't stop watching.
Especially with all those moves they call out. Vacuum butt cannon.
Oh, God.
And the Gatling butt.
We also got the butt missile coming.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God.
Or W acceleration. What's Jaber? Oh, back to this again.
Okay, so I brought him back up because you brought up an interesting point. The ears, right?
Jeez.
His
Oh
getting there.
yes, yes.
And
Yeah.
you have the McPawn. He's trying. Then you have the Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force.
Well, to be fair, the Air Force does have an image to present.
I know, because theirs is the most professional looking out of all of them. You know, the most well media'd.
Yeah.
Looks good on
Photoshop is
TV.
what I mean. Oh no, not Photoshop. After Effects.
Oh.
I mean, being a member of the Air Force is almost like being in the military. So, being the Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force is like the closest to really being in the military.
It's closest compared to the Coast Guard. But then again, you know,
No. It's almost as close as the Boy Scouts are to being in the military, but not
okay,
quite.
yeah, the Boy Scouts are closer than the Coast Guard.
Yeah, it's like Air Force. No, I would say it's Air Force, Boy Scouts, Coast Guard, Army.
But don't forget Space Force.
No, Space Force is above the Air Force.
And they only have 2 members.
God damn it, Leon! You sent me the Goku dolls. That's not what I wanted.
Maybe that's what he intended to do.
I just spent the last hour and a half on a Zoom call with my high school classmates.
Pseudo
Trying
reunion.
not. What's that?
Pseudo reunion.
Pseudo reunion, but the odd part is that I spend so much time in conversations such as that, and none of them have, that I'm trying not to sound awkward like it's normal to me.
Where's Coral when we need her?
Oh, she's not feeling good. That's why she's not here tonight.
This would have made her day.
Oh.
Cheers, little guy.
Tweet-
Cheers.
Tweet it to her.
I think I will.
But so, you mean it's weird and awkward having to talk to people and not be allowed to talk about whatever fucked up shit comes to mind?
Yes. And the fact that, you know, I use Zoom all the time, and I use Google Meets all the time, and I'm on YouTube all the time, and I'm absolutely ashamed to admit it to any of them. I mean, we even played a game of 2 truths and a lie,
Oh,
and there's an easy one in there. I have a YouTube channel that I've made money on. That's my truth. They would think it's a lie. I'm not going to fucking admit to that to them. Because I'm ashamed of you assholes.
why?
No, he's not ashamed of us. He's proud. He just doesn't want to admit that he's proud of us.
Oh, yeah, gotta remember, typical officer type.
Damn
He
it,
has a hard
Jay.
time admitting that he's fraternizing with us lowbrow enlisted people.
Damn it, Jay. Stop psychologicalizing me.
Hey, I got my psychological degree the same place that James got his film degree. Not really. No. Although I
So
could probably
you-
get it just as easy as he did.
So you have a modified 2-week psychological course?
Pretty much. I called that my 3rd or 4th class in my AA with University of Phoenix. Sounds about right.
Yeah,
Damn it, look, what the fuck you said to me, Lord Burns?
Oh, hang on, I didn't go through right. Sorry.
And keep in mind, so Furball, you're in good company. Blue Marble is right there with you about not wanting to admit too much to other people.
Yeah.
Here you go, Jared.
Wow.
And now it should work.
Wait a
Okay.
minute.
So if you want to play along at home, because I had to write this shit down. God damn it, where did I fucking write it down? My 2 truths and a lie.
Germans.
God damn it, where the fuck did I write it?
I love that. commercial.
One
There
of
we
those
go.
one of those 18 tabs you get open.
Okay, so here's my 2 truths and a lie that I had to come up with to my classmates that I haven't seen in years. And you guys can play along, and in the side chat, play along at home. I have been arrested. I have driven 155 miles an hour, or I have never been to Canada.
I'm going to say the arrest is the lie, because I know the middle one is true.
Actually,
I'm
I
gonna
need
go with you haven't been to Canada. Is the truth.
I just looking at this, I realized that I fucked up and none of them caught it. So, god damn it, I'm an idiot and they never caught it. So, yes, I have been arrested. Yes, I have driven 155. And no, I have never been to Canada.
Oh, they were all true.
Yeah, they were all true. Even though, see, no, this was important to them because I lived in South Dakota, like a 4-hour drive from Canada, where everybody went up there to get like beer and poutine. I've never been to Canada. But I have been arrested for underage consumption at the age of 18 and 2 weeks.
And yet here you are now in security.
Oh, there's a story with that too.
Oh, jeez.
Not a big story, but so it's an underage consumption. I'm from a town of like 3 people, and let me go back. And one night, one of the first times I'd ever been drinking. I was 18 and 2 weeks, and the 2 people that were with me were 17. We went drinking on some guy's farm, and the guy that was driving was like 80 pounds, and he had 1 beer 2 hours earlier. As we're driving back into town, he did not dim his headlights as he went by a cop. So the cop pulled him over. And since he's the driver, he can only blow him for
Phrasing.
alcohol, not
Phrasing.
not penis related.
Too late.
So he does the BAH for him, and somehow 1 beer 2 hours later, he still blows hot. So that gives him authority to blow everyone else in the car. Phrasing. And he did. And we all blew hot.
So it's like, fuck.
Fuck! So he blows the rest of us, and we all blow hot. We're all under 21, so we all immediately underage consumption. Problem is that the other guys are 17, I'm 18. So by law, he can only release them to their parents. I can go on my own. We're 2 miles out of town in the other kid's car. So the cop asks me, he's like, hey man, I have to give them to their parents. I can just let you go, but it's a long walk. Can you drive his car back to the police station?
And what did you blow on it?
Not enough to say that I was DUI, but enough to say that I was underage consumption.
Oh, wow.
So no problem with that. I drive back to the police station.
Legal
He's got-
loophole.
He's got the other 2 guys in handcuffs in the back of the car because he can only give them back to their parents. We get to the police station. Let me turn on my camera.
Oh, this will be interesting.
Turn on my camera, and when we
Are
get
you
back
looking
to
at the right camera?
that's the camera right there. when we get back to the police station, he's like, "Hey man, thanks, I appreciate it, but do you need a ride home? I know that you drove for me, but do you need a ride home?" And I looked at him, and I'm from a town of 1,400 people. He's a new cop that just moved to town. And when he asked me if I wanted a ride home, I literally turned around and said,
I'm right
the
there.
blue one, that's my house. I'm good. Thanks. So technically, I have been arrested, and then drove the car back to the police station for the cop.
You know what?
Small town America.
Well, here's the thing. What I deem as being arrested is not anything like that. If you are cuffed and transported, you were arrested.
You have to actually go through booking to technically be arrested.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Now, so technically that is true,
You're just being
But-
detained.
but with booking, now, with booking, that gives you a arrest record. Even though I was never booked, I have an arrest record because I can validate that from 4 years ago when I went through my last security clearance. Because up until then, the questions were, and I had misread the questions when I first did my security clearance, have you been arrested in the last 10 years? And the first time that I ever read that, no. And then the next question was, have you ever been arrested for an alcohol-related incident? Well, I didn't. No. And for 3 subsequent security clearances, I checked no. And that's every 5 years. So on my last security clearance review, I actually read the question and was like, oh, yeah, technically that one time, yes. Check, yes. And we went through the whole process, and then at the end, the security investigator had to come back out and was like, hey, man, every time something comes up, we go through it with your history, we talk to you about it to make sure it's not a problem, but you've never checked yes on this question. And when we correlate that, we see that you are arrested for an alcohol incident, so we need to talk about it. Okay, that's fine.
It's a
And
trap.
as he, yeah, as he comes back out to talk about it, what's hilarious is that I'm now 41 years old, and he's asking me questions of like, can this ever be used against you?
What kind of clearance were you going through?
This is a TSSCI.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can this ever be used against you? Have you informed your family about it? What is the likelihood of this type of incident to ever happen again?
I'm trying to figure out why this didn't come up in the previous checks then.
I don't know either.
No, okay, so that's where, because you weren't booked, and because it was a small local, in order for them to validate it, they would have actually had to go back into, actually talk to the precinct directly to verify
true, yeah.
it. Especially
Yeah,
seeing
on
as
all
how this was what year that it happened?
This would have happened in January of 96.
Yeah. Yeah, because you answered no for so long, they didn't have reason to look into it further, and because you weren't booked and put into the record system that way, you wouldn't have come up anyways.
Yeah, they never asked me before that. They've never said you selected no for arrest or alcohol, but our records indicate. It never happened. 20 years later, because I checked yes, apparently they went back and looked, and they found it.
Yeah, because they went back and looked at who it was. Oh, is that what you're looking at getting?
That's what I've already ordered.
Yeah, good choice. So, Blue, I know you said you didn't have much time to...
I need to upgrade. What is the wattage on it?
100
watt. Not enough.
No, that one is 1.5K.
No, I'm talking about the wattage, not the volt.
900.
I need to upgrade my UPS. If I run both my 1080, if I'm folding with both my 1080s and my CPU, it overloads the UPS.
Wait, you're going just with the 900 watt, not the 1.5K?
Well, no, I'm talking about it's the wattage, not
Yeah.
the volt amp that I'm talking about.
Oh. Well, the nice thing with APCs is when you actually load them above 50%, their actual power factor is really freaking good for a dual conversion.
I've got two 1080s TIs and a 3900X. When I'm actually drawing from the outlet, I'm drawing over 900 watts.
Night, Burns.
See you, Burns. so
Hi, man.
So Blue, you've heard the stories. What do you have to chime in?
I'm trying to figure out which one I ought to tell, and the answer is none of them.
So they're
Nothing
all perfect.
incriminating much.
Yeah, there's always some asshole with the OBS that's recording this crap. So, you know.
Yeah, that'd be Jared.
Or the fact that
Just
it's
change
live
the
on
names to
YouTube.
protect the guilty.
Yeah, exactly.
Names have been changed to protect the guilty.
I think the funniest one that ever happened to me was, and fortunately I didn't end up going to jail for it. But, a buddy of mine and I went to a bar and left that evening rather late and went back up to where our cars were parked. And I had an old beater station wagon back in the day when they made a thing called a station wagon, and the battery was dead. So pretty much shit-faced, we decided the only proper thing to do was go back to the bar, right? Maybe ask around and see if somebody had some jumper cables or something like that. And as we turned the corner out onto the main street, there was a city cop riding in one of these little Cushman things, you know, a little three-wheel Cushman gizmo. And all he's doing is marking tires, you know, checking.
No, meter maid.
People. Yeah, meter maid guy. So anyway, my buddy says, sees the cop, and I see him, he breaks off and starts over, and I thought, oh, Jesus, please, you know, don't do anything, Dan. Well, he says, the cop's out of the Cushman. He says, hey, buddy, you got any jumper cables? And the cop says, well, yeah, I do. And the guy says, well, you know, his battery's dead. Can we borrow them? And the cop says, no, they're just for city vehicles. And I guess that pissed my friend off. So he says, did you fuck up? And the cop said, what? And he said, you must have really fucked up to have to ride around in that little silly thing. So, yeah, you can imagine what happened next.
Oh.
Me and my buddy are up against a brick wall, you know, with hands and feet spread, while this police officer extracts his vengeance on my friend. Now it got really funny because he's driving a Cushman. Now, where the hell is he going to put the prisoner, right? There's no place to put the guy. So
That's
he's got
what bungee cords are for.
I guess, you know. So
The jumper cables could be used as well.
I suppose he calls in reinforcements, though, so they get a regular police officer down there who then says, what did they do? Well, they asked to borrow my jumper cables. Now the two cops are having to have a conference off to the side. And to make a long story short, they decided ultimately that I had really actually done nothing other than just stand there looking stupid and drunk. And they weren't going to do anything to me, but they did take his ass to jail. So I ended up finding a nice guy in the bar that actually had some jumper cables and was willing to share them with me. So I was able to go bail my friend out. But yeah, shit happens.
Yeah, sometimes you have to watch what you say at times, and alcohol in enough quantity does not help with that.
No.
Alcohol is basically the anti-filter.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have an accident where alcohol wasn't involved, but ended up getting a pissy state trooper involved. But ended up having a bump with this guy from NAS Oceana. It was just like late at night. Like we had a bump. We pull over, and I mean, it's hard to make the long story short. But I mean, seriously, we have this bump, and we call the emergency number to have someone come out to report, and like no one's showing up. eventually, like, we have, like, just someone pulls over, ends up being an off-duty Virginia Beach police officer. And he was going home and saw us just sitting there on the side. And you're like, we had been sitting there for like a half hour at this point, still waiting for state troopers to show up because it's like on the interstate. And the police officer's like, "You've been here for a half hour and nobody's shown up yet?" And it's like, "Yeah." So he's like calling it in. And then like about, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes later, a Virginia Beach police officer stops by. He's just stopping by to see if someone's shown up yet.
Oh, jeez.
Because like the off-duty cop had called, someone, at the Virginia Beach Department to come check on us. And we're still sitting there. Anyway, I'm going to just advance this. About 3 hours later, a state trooper finally pulls up. And then he starts giving us attitude because he can't believe we've been sitting there for 3 hours waiting for his ass. Like, you're telling me if I go up there and feel those hoods, they're going to be cold? Yeah?
Yeah.
The guy was annoying as fucking hell. That guy was like a little short guy with a power trip, I swear.
Oh, so just like the majority of cops in Connecticut and Rhode Island.
All I can imagine is the XO from down Periscope.
Yes.
That'd be a fairly good example, yeah. But I mean, because this guy, he did not believe we were there for 3 hours. When he goes in there, feels the whole hoods. Of course they were cold because we've been sitting there for 3 hours just because we went a fucking accident for it.
You mean this documentary there, Furball?
Oh yeah.
This is a documentary, everybody, just so you know.
That's that's the Navy documentary, and
The Army documentary, Sergeant Bilko.
No,
Bilko or Stripes?
No, God damn it! What's the one with Pauly Shore? I'm feeling dumb and drunk.
In the Army now.
Yeah, in the Army now.
Yes, yes, that is the Army because they filmed that at Fort Sill, Oklahoma, where I went to basic training, and it is absolutely accurate.
No, it's been a while since I've watched that. I just might have to see if that's available.
If you don't refer to down Periscope, Mikhail's Navy will work as well.
Yes, that works as well. That's the surface variant.
Leon wants to know if we would recommend that as a movie for Wednesday. Down Periscope?
Yes.
Absolutely yes. Microphones on so we can ridicule and laugh with each other.
Yeah.
Not ridicule.
I can concur.
I would not ridicule. I would ridicule.
If you're going to ridicule, you should be watching Crimson Tide. That's something to ridicule.
Oh, God,
no,
yeah.
wait. No,
I still feel very, very sorry for those very, very poor moviegoers who decided to go to Crimson Tide before a whole bunch of people from my boat and decided to go out together and watch it before deployment.
What was your boat?
I was in the USS Hampton. But we critiqued that movie through the entire damn thing, and I feel they should have given a refund every single other person.
You should have heard the guys from the Alabama critique it.
Oh, I can imagine.
I got to visit the Tennessee a couple weeks ago.
What'd you think?
The captain was about 6 inches too tall for the boat.
Who's the captain?
And it was, I don't know. He's a black male, and it was hilarious watching him duck constantly.
Wait a minute.
Through the entire tour.
Hang on. Anamorphic Mind, Pentagon Wars. Is that the one with Carrie Ells where they're talking about the...
Yes.
About the Striker? I love that one.
It's not the Striker. It is the Bradley fighting vehicle.
The Bradley. The predecessor.
Why does it have holes on the side? It needs to go across water. 6 months later. It needs to have holes on the side so they can shoot their guns off the side.
So, it was Justin Capper was the CO? Or Matt Luff?
I don't know by name.
I don't have a picture of him, so...
Yeah.
Because
It was a
10 can't do anything, right?
Yeah, it was a tall black gentleman that through the entire hour I was on the boat, his neck was like cricked at about a 40 degree to the left.
you do get a few guys on the boat who are a little bit tall, where they do spend a lot of their time hunched down. So I
felt
was
so
lucky. I
sorry
was
for
like
him.
5'6". There was like only one spot on the boat that I had to duck. So
Now, I can talk about this because it's happened, and it technically didn't happen. The individual that I provide security for was planning on going on a sub up to the Arctic, getting on a boat, going under the ocean or going under the ice, and then popping up through the ice. So, as we were planning it, it was a flight to Alaska, a flight northern in Alaska, a flight northern in Alaska, a helicopter northern in Alaska, and then getting on a boat and going under. But if you know Smarter Every Day, Destin Sandlin, he has a podcast. He was invited on that same trip. So he now has a podcast where he actually went, where my boss backed out at the last minute. Well, not necessarily him. Not necessarily him. Somebody on his staff decided that this was not the time that he needed to tour a boomer. But it was really interesting listening to Destin about the journey up there that my guys would have had to have gone to get to the Arctic Circle on a sub under the ice.
yeah, well, if he was surfed to the ice, he would have been on a fast attack. So bit different experience. Can the boomers even surface through ice? I'm not even sure if they can.
No, our Fairwater
yeah, I
planes
don't-
wouldn't rotate far enough.
Yeah,
I mean, it
'Cause
wouldn't
not
be
even
much
all
of a
the
modification.
not all the flight ones could either. That's what I was wondering. So
That's one of the things they talked about was the ability to go through the ice, and the reason I'm kind of comparing the two is because my trip that I went on to visit him with a boomer was because he did not go to Alaska, because it was kind of a tour of the things that make giant booms. So I had assumed that trip up to the Arctic was on a boomer. Maybe it wasn't.
No,
yeah, if he was going to the Arctic, he would have been on a fast attack, not a boomer.
Yeah.
If you want to hear that story, it is really interesting. Smarter Every Day is the podcast. Destin Sandlin, he's a former rocket engineer for the U.S. Army. Now he's a private contractor, and he's going through school to get his doctorate in rocket science. But he was invited up there for the YouTube channel Smarter Every Day. And
Yes, I knew that. I heard that name somewhere.
All I
before.
can say is look at my billboard.
Done enough.
Yeah. All I can say is on that trip that we were having arguments between our security detachment and the Cobb of whether we could or could not bring guns on the boat. The Cobb was
remember the Cobb's
saying
name?
no.
Generally, yeah, you would not allow. I mean, you theoretically could have bought your guns on the boat, but they probably would have wanted them put in the gun locker.
Now, on shore, there was no fuss.
Yeah, but once
At
you
sea,
once
at
you go
sea
in,
there was.
Yeah.
Because let me put it this way: we've delivered SEALs before. They didn't even have guns when we were underwater.
Really?
Yeah, their stuff was stored away till they were ready to actually deploy.
Yeah, and actually on the carrier, when we would have a SEAL dead on with us, same thing. The only time the SEALs would actually have access to their weapons was to do their PM checks on them and to do live fire training, which was only a couple times.
There are really only times that guns actually get broke out, like on a submarine, and that's like if you're dealing with like a repel border situation or like some sort of like.
I think on boomers the rules are different than on standard subs because there's a difference between a vessel that has a nuclear propulsion system and a vessel that has a nuclear weapon system. Who's the captain of the Joyzy?
We can make fun of that name for a while.
Wait. Bring that back up. I just
didn't
noticed.
read it?
No. I just noticed something even
It's a
better.
Virginia class, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a Virginia. Now look at the name of the cob. You got Spinks and Felt.
And Jones sandwiched in the middle. Pick a command. Pick a command.
Kings Bay, no fuck. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, because of EB, there's going to be a couple PCUs at Groton.
Go back to Kings Bay.
Wonder who's commander of my current boat. Look for the Hampton.
What was it, Tennessee?
Oh, Tennessee right here?
Is that that's sublamp that wasn't it? Yeah.
Oh, God, that... Gotta check my emails.
Caper or Luff?
Alaska, West Virginia. Check the Maryland. Maybe it was the Maryland. No. Because it was...
He actually made Cobb.
It was jumping back and forth between which boat we were going to go to. God damn it! Now you need a fucking.
Yeah, buddy, you went to the Boise.
Oh, yeah, I forgot they still have the subgroup out of Naples.
Yep.
It's a temporary thing, though. It's like pretty much when you're tasked to the Mediterranean, then you're
part of
that
Group
subgroup.
8. Yeah, it's like with the in Japan, you're part of the 7th Fleet when you cross over the international date line into the Western Pacific. What's the average humidity inside a submarine, though? If you have weapons stored away with potentially poor lubrication and oiling, so humidity can get to them. Well,
the gun locker is sealed.
Unless you pull out the back paneling from the CO stateroom, but you know.
Ours wasn't even the CO stateroom. Our gun locker was actually, it was, kind of, there's like this like wall area that's like in between like where the walkway is and where the like department head staterooms are at, and that's where our gun locker was at.
Ours was literally right on the other side of the CO stateroom.
Our CO stateroom was next to control. So.
Who was the Maryland?
Maryland? Dale Brown and Michael Eisen.
But really, I mean, in the submarine, humidity is not really an issue. I mean,
yeah, they keep it keep it high enough for static dissipation to not be a concern, but also low enough that you don't have to worry about excessive rusting.
I mean, you also got to realize, like, you know, when we're underway, the air we're breathing has been scrubbed. I mean, it's gone through a CO2 scrubber, it's gone through a COH2 burner.
So as a non-submariner, as somebody who I've been on subs twice, briefly. One thing I'd like to point out to anybody in the side chat is that as I was walking around on the Maryland, the deck plating in so many of the rooms was the same plain paneling that you have in your bathroom.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tell me something I didn't know.
Seriously, it looks like you're walking around a bathroom the entire time.
Just be thankful it doesn't smell like one. That's a lot of the berthing spaces down second deck and below on a carrier.
Yeah, it's pretty generic looking tiling, yeah. For the most.
Let's go to Comsub Pack.
I mean, what do you expect? I mean, what do you think we're going to do?
To look like a submarine, not like my bathroom.
What is a submarine supposed to look like?
Yeah, I mean,
not my bathroom.
You want something that you can sweep with a foxtail and mop with with a sponge. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
So, got a good question from Don Giovanni in the chat for you too. Do you make O2 while underway?
Yes.
Yes, all the time.
The bomb. You had 2 bombs though, didn't you?
Yes, we
You only
did.
had 1. I remember a comment in one of
Hilton
your
sisters.
discussions. O2 generator used electrolysis to split seawater into hydrogen oxygen. Bleed the hydrogen overboard. Store the oxygen in flasks to bleed out into the atmosphere to maintain a particular level.
One of the things that Smart Every Day talked about when they were discussing the trip that Destin went on under the ice was raising the sub through a sheet of ice. Specifically on the center of balance for the sub, that it was a very precarious situation to be in where you're trying to maintain center of mass with the O2 and the ballast as you're coming up. But then as soon as you gauge that your mast or the conning tower, I'm sorry, I'm dumb. What's it called? The official term.
The sail.
The sail.
The sail.
Sail, conning tower, fair water, it all works. Same. They're synonyms. So
yeah, once the sail has touched the ice, flood every compartment with O2 or with air to force through. Because if you just let it keep going up based upon its current center of balance, it will just the tower will sit there at the top of the ice, and the bottom of the boat will want to rock up over on the side.
Yeah.
So going up through the ice was not a normal surface breaching maneuver.
No, there's a lot of special controls that involved with that.
It's one thing I wish I could have done.
Yeah, we went through any of the Flight 3s could. Some of the Flight 2s could. I think I can't remember some or all the Flight 2s could.
Most of the 2.
Some of the Flight 1s could, but not all of them. Because it had to be, most of them, like, the ones that had fair water planes, they had to be able to rotate their fair water planes, like, completely vertical to go
vertical,
through.
Yeah. That was going to be the question I asked, is that the planes had to be vertical to go through rather than inflict damage.
But I mean, most of the subs that actually go through, I mean, because like some of the 2s, some or all the 2s could, but there's not a lot of Flight 2s. But like all the Flight 3s, all the Seawolves, all the Virginias can, but none of those have fair water planes. They all have bow planes. So
yeah, it makes a difference.
How long until the next class of subs comes out?
The Columbia, a couple years.
The Columbia class, yeah,
2024, I think.
Yeah, I think they did some initial like material acquisition for the Columbia itself that started, but I think that's as far as like there's no actual construction that started as far as I know.
How much ice?
Keel's been laid.
How much ice can those things break through?
The Greenville. The Greenville was my list of possible choices when I was coming out of C school. She was a PCU at the time.
So, the thickness.
Let me date myself there.
The thickness of ice that they could surface through is maxed out at what? Little over 2 feet, if I remember.
It's around 2 or 3 feet. Yeah, I can't remember what the max is.
That doesn't sound like a lot.
Have you seen 3 feet of ice before?
What is? I should rephrase that. What's the average thickness of ice on the northern cap?
Oh, I mean, there's spots in the northern cap where it's like, could be measured in miles, but.
So here's something to think about there, Furball. Take a wild guess how thick a sheet of ice for playing hockey is on. What do you think it is?
Oh, God, that's an inch or less.
No, so your actual rink, like your higher end rink, the actual ice is anywhere from 6 to 8 inches.
Okay.
And the sub is breaking through up to 6 times that.
Okay, so go back to one of the ship images of the ship, Jay.
Okay.
How far down the sail? Thickness of ice.
Oh, when they do it, they break through the entire sail and actually get the top part of the hull out. Usually.
I have a
Yeah, I got
young.
an example for you. So
Here, let me stop presenting.
I've got to dip out for
I
a
gotta
little bit.
find it.
Jared, I have a young male that wishes to call me for advice.
You have fun with that.
Have fun.
I'll be back.
Here we go. Yeah, be a perfect example of it.
Do I have the right idea who I think he's referring to?
Possibly.
Okay.
There we go.
Check Discord for my thought, Jared.
Yep.
So you can kind of see the chunks of ice at the top there of the sail as it's
Yeah.
coming through. Because that's like what? That's about 2 feet right there.
Yeah, it's 2
foot,
feet of
Two and a
sail.
half.
1.5 to 2 foot thick, yeah. Yeah, and if I remember right from all the videos I've seen of it, they come through, a couple guys go out the sail, and then climb down and clear off the areas over the forward and aft hatches to let everyone else out the more normal way.
Let's filter this for the most recent.
Hey, we got a Terry in the chat. Yay!
Hey, Terry.
You also
All right.
needed what we referred to as a hardened sail too. Sails, I mean, sails aren't necessarily that durable. Because I mean, realistically, the purpose of that function on a submarine is literally just to fare around the masts and stuff. So it's, unless it's reinforced, it might have issues punching through ice.
All right, here we go.
Yeah.
Oh, I know which one you're saying. Yeah. There's that time 2 subs went through the ice, if I remember right.
3.
Because there was a U.S. sub, there was a U.K. sub, I think, that came through as well.
Blowers going.
Wow.
That's a flight 3 right there.
There comes. And literally just off to the right edge of the frame there is the rudder.
Yeah, it
Should've
should
broke
be.
through.
Probably already broke through. You just can't see it there.
Yeah, should be right about here. If you can
It
see
should
mine.
be further back. It'd be off frame, really.
Here's, I'm trying to remember the. I know the Nautilus did the first nuclear transit under the polar ice caps, but was its sail reinforced enough to actually do the surfacing? I can't.
I don't know, because
recall.
I don't think it ever surfaced. It transited, but it never surfaced, as far as I know.
But
that would be a Virginia class there.
The shape, or Seawolf, they have similar shape.
It's Seawolf.
That's a Seawolf, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the shape of the sail for the Nautilus would be a good shape for ice breaking, but the question is whether or not it was reinforced enough, and I don't know for sure.
I can't remember. That was a transition period for submarines, so there was a lot of weird stuff back then.
Well, yeah, the Nautilus was essentially a beefed up diesel design, and then it was a couple ship iterations afterwards is when they started going to the teardrop.
Well, the Albacore was the
USS
experiment for it. So
the Skate was the first submarine to surface at the North Pole.
Oh, but the Skate class was basically a production level Seawolf. or Nautilus. I mean, well, I guess the original Seawolf will kind of apply there too, because they were similar in design, just different reactor plants. But
On August 11th.
But was it an ice breaking or was it just surfacing? Although back then,
it didn't have any fair water planes. You don't have that issue.
Yeah.
I can imagine they probably could have reinforced the sail to do an ice surfacing back then. Because I mean, a lot of the
a lot of the initial missile systems,
all of the Sturgeons had fair water planes, but they had been designed to go through the ice. I think most of the Thresher / Perisher class did as well.
Blue, are you planning on getting some sleep before Terry's show, or you're just gonna power through?
No. I actually think I'm going to go try to take a nap. And it apparently won't be much of one, but
What boats were in the Arctic this year?
What was that?
Wondering what boats were in the Arctic this year.
I don't know. I mean, frequently there's like boats that'll do underside ops, but like 90% of the times you never hear about it. So.
Yeah, no.
Well, there's
the Navy promotes the ISEX on their own YouTube channels.
I think it's funny, like looking at Wikipedia articles, like because like look at the Wikipedia article of my own boat, and I'm like, it doesn't even mention like 98% of the stuff that it's involved in.
Yeah, well, we can't talk about that much of the individual
all the stuff
missions.
you can't talk about. Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason why those of us with potential access to the knowledge actually had to go through the security clearance measures. I mean, it's almost like there are things that the general public don't need to know about what the military is currently or recently has done because, well, security is kind of a big thing.
The only thing I'm thinking of that my boat has a reputation for that I wasn't part of when it happened was there was a point in time when my boat had transferred to the West Coast, and when it initially transferred to the West Coast, they went through an ORS, and it was discovered at the time that the ELTs were radioing the logs.
Oh.
Ooh. For those who don't know what that means, it's documentation fraud.
Yeah, you reported you did stuff that never happened. And pretty much the entire ELT division was gone. The engineering chief was gone. The engineering officer was gone. The XO was gone. And of course the CO is gone, because anytime anything happens on the boat, the CO's fault. So
speaking of, interestingly enough, with the resignation of the acting Secretary of the Navy, and with no replacement currently been assigned to it, the CNO has taken over responsibilities, and what is he considering doing?
Reinstating the CO as well.
Yeah. They're just posted an article in the Navy Times that they're doing an investigation.
Yeah, because I read it because they had like earlier this week it reported like they had got out actually the list of names in the memo, and like I said, that's the 20-30 names that the acting previous. There's too many descriptors on that title. Acting previous said turned out to not be anywhere close to 20-30 names, and just 3 admirals and 7 captains or something like that.
Yeah, and like I said at the beginning, to try to say that a captain of a ship had drafted a memo of that length and breadth without having a conversation with his 1-star who was on the same ship with him is just a ridiculous notion.
Well, I find it like to me, it's pissing off that this guy had said that stuff, and then it's turning out like, because he had said that, oh, he drafted this message to like 20, 30 people, and he didn't include the chain of command in it. But then you get that, then they actually release the names of the people in the memo, and it's the 3 people above him in the chain of command and the 7 other captains.
Yeah,
it's like basically this acting. It's why does this have to have so many fucking descriptors on it? This acting previous lied through his fucking teeth is what it comes down to.
So Connecticut got it again this year for the I-6, and so did the Toledo. And the Navy Times just announced about an hour ago that there's an investigation going into the Roosevelt incident.
Yeah, it'll be interesting if he gets reinstated. And here's the thing. I actually think that's a good thing, because I really did not have the confidence in the reason that frickin' Moody gave for getting rid of him. I really think it was, oh, you're making us look like shit, you're gone.
That's pretty much what it's lining up to so far, because he lied about the number of the people in the memo. He lied that the chain of command wasn't included.
Yeah.
But I mean, I feel bad. Like, some people point out that, oh yeah, he had previous naval experience because he was a helicopter pilot for like 6 years. Yeah, he was 6 years a helicopter pilot and 20 years a hedge fund manager. That's pretty much why he was in.
Yeah. It's better when someone in a position like the SecNav actually recognizes the support staff that he has around him and relies on them for their actual advice on what is actually being dealt with. That's where people, you can have someone in a senior leadership position who doesn't have the same experience that their subordinates are directly dealing with, as long as that person knows how to use an advisory staff and actually listens to them when warranted, which is most of the time.
That's most of my problem with the current administration, is like, it's just surrounding itself with yes men. It's not concerned about like actual advisement. It wants peaceful people around it that scratches its ears. That's all it really wants.
It wants that good attaboy from everyone. Right. And that really is a problem. You gotta be willing to take the criticism and surrounding yourself with people who have the balls and also the intelligence of when to say no.
I'll be honest. I had some hope up for this administration when they appointed some people. I was like, yeah, that's a really good choice. Mind you, all those people that I'm talking about right now aren't there anymore.
And that's another thing. You do need a modicum of consistency and cohesion even between administrations. You got to be able to set the petty bullshit aside and be like, okay, you did your thing. Tell us what we need to know, then we can do our thing.
I just don't know why the fuck it's got to, because like, I'm not looking forward to November.
Is anyone?
Because I mean, with the way that all the parties and even the third parties have panned out right now, it's like right now come November, it's like I'm choosing which sides I want to go with my shit sandwich.
Yeah. Yeah, people thought 2016 was bad for options. This is just getting worse.
I've never had options this bad in the entire time that I voted as an adult.
Well, there's 2024 to look forward to.
I'll tell you something scary. I'll tell you something scary. I've never had options this bad either, and I've been voting for a long damn time.
So I'm like, I'm in my, you know, I'm starting to creep into my late 40s, and I'm
Hell, I'm 70 and I've never had choices this bad.
I'm like even thinking back to some of the bad options in the past and thinking, I wish I could have them this time.
Oh, hell yeah. You are damned right. Ross Perot's starting to look good again.
Oh fuck! and you know, I remember back then in the late '90s during that. Yeah, I'm young and I was only in middle school at the time, but my teachers knew enough to get us to actually start paying attention to this shit, and we actually looked into the candidates, and people looked at me sideways when I said, "Don't knock Perot. Look at what he's actually saying."
I'll be honest. The first election I got to I got to take part in was when Ross Perot was running the first time, and I did vote for him. I didn't like the other option. The second time around, and you know, I did vote for Clinton, but
yeah, but it's been downhill since.
But I'm thinking back, like I thought like the 2000 election of like, you know, Gore and George W. was bad, and like I'm looking, can I have either of them now?
That's what I'm saying. All the dregs of the previous years are starting to look really pretty damn good.
Well, wait a minute. Let's look at it this way. Okay, Blue, would you rather have what we currently have in office or Nixon?
Nixon. Oh, sorry. You're asking for Blue. Sorry. Did I speak too fast?
Oh, hell, I'd take Nixon in a heartbeat.
Nixon's more trustworthy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And how bad is that? How bad is it that we can look to someone who legitimately actually had the evidence against him to where he said, "Yeah, nope, I'm gone. See you guys," and got his VP to pardon him immediately after, so he didn't have to face jail time. And we would rather take that guy than Trump.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, let me explain. If President Camacho were to run in 2020, he would be a better choice.
Well, that's because Camacho actually knew, hey, this is one smart motherfucker. Let's let him have some influence and go with his recommendations. Where is Trump doing it? Oh, yeah, nowhere.
Oh, come on. You expect Trump to do anything?
All the Democrats give us was Biden. I mean, come on.
Oh, let's be honest.
I shared that earlier today.
Bernie is not... He's not Democrat enough. Like,
I know, but it's like, I'm not even like getting to Bernie. It's like, I would have literally taken every single one of the other runners over Biden.
Oh no! See, what really gets to be comical when you look at it is the Democratic Party is supposedly the party of minorities, diversity, progressiveness, and change. And who did it come down to? Oh yeah, two old white rich guys.
Which has been what? The mainstay? Oh, wait, look. 2016 was a woman, an old rich white woman. But, you know, that's diversity enough, right? There was a great gift today.
You name another potential Democratic candidate that had run in this election other than Biden, and I would have preferred...
Ugly German Jews. Fino has it right. The joys of politics through focus groups. It really has become that. It has become such a mockery of itself that the people who actually profit off mocking it haven't been able to because it's been too ridiculous.
Well, I'm trying to find this GIF I saw on.
I mean, the
Twitter
the
earlier.
libertarians are giving us someone who's so conservative. He was a little bit too conservative to be a Republican 20 years ago, and the Greens are giving us an anarcho-communist. I mean, what the fuck options are they?
You know that anarcho-communist is actually sounding good.
You want to know
the
what?
sad thing.
You know what option they're giving us? They're giving us the option of us all writing in Cthulhu just to see what happens.
Well, I choose the lesser evil.
No, if we're choosing evil, I'm going all out.
But Hillary's not on the ballot.
Oh, that was a good one. Who would you
softballed that one, man?
True. Although I was initially oh fuck, and the Bernie freaking meme isn't on the screen right now too. Oh,
I wasn't seeing it. Which is the Bernie meme you're seeing?
The whole thing about I'll give you the healthcare and everything, but then raise your taxes to oblivion. Oh no, it was a minimum wage. Yeah, we'll put your minimum wage up to 15 an hour, which then the cost of everything is going to go up, so it's effectively not a raise. Which, here's the thing, if you do a massive, significant increase in the minimum wage in the US, that actually is what would happen. In order to pay for said increased wages, the majority of companies, not all, but the majority of companies would end up increasing their prices of everything, which, guess what that does? It de facto devalues the dollar, so you're essentially at a net zero gain.
It does, but it's still economically it's beneficial overall. I mean, in the terms of like what it is for like the lifestyle of the people. So that's to be the realist about it. But if anything right now, what's starting to teach people is that healthcare, like health insurance, isn't really an option, and internet is a utility. That's what we're learning right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This day and age, it is. I mean, at first people laughed when Germany classified it as that, but you can kind of see the logic behind it.
Oh, there is logic. I mean, I've been working and recruiting human resources for a while, so I know it's a while because almost all of job hunting has gone internet.
Yep.
I mean, the old days, I hate to do the okay boomer stuff, but the old days of people running around with their resumes and dropping off at offices, that shit's gone. My company doesn't have a human resources department you to stop by. We're virtualized and we're spread across the country. You talk to us virtually. You don't stop by a central office.
Well, it still that ground pounding still does happen, but it's in very few places, and it's generally the financial.
If it is, it's generally localized stuff.
Yeah.
Not,
not even that. I mean, larger companies will still entertain it because look at the density. Just look at the location density of the financial districts of Boston, New York City, Chicago. Those three, that sort of old school ground pounding, can still be effective, but only if you're going for those sorts of positions in those industries, in those areas. But outside of that, you're 99% electronic.
Well, the thing is a lot of the stuff that used to fall to ground pounding has gone to recruiting, where we're seeking out talent, not like we're going out and looking for and combing for talent. We're not taking it, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Guys, I got to run.
Yep. We'll catch you later, Blue. We're about to shut it down anyways. It's about that time of night.
Well, you guys be good.
You too, brother. Glad to see you.
Yeah, good to see you.
Bye. Yeah, I didn't agree with all. I certainly don't agree. I'm not going to certainly say I agree with all of Bernie's policies, but that was like there's a lot of stuff in his general platform is the kind of the direction we have to go. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Not that we necessarily need to like adopt all his ideologies verbatim as
Yeah, now, and that's the thing. I don't want people to get the wrong idea. I'm for change, but I'm for reasonable change that isn't going to fuck over the, just blow up in your face. I'm also not a proponent of change for the sake of change, because how often has that actually borne out positive results? I'll give you a hint. It's not a negative number, but JM Truth thinks it is.
Well, my way to look at it is something like this. Like when I was dealing, especially with like Bernie, is like that was the direction we needed to go, but you have to approach it realistically. Yes, he's got a lot of pie in the sky ideas, and there's no fucking way they're going to happen. So it's like there's no necessarily negative to it, if you get what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, I mean, and part of Bernie's issue is like, again, I'm all for change and progress and doing things right, but the methodology of doing it is where I take issue with what Bernie proposed, because his proposal, once he finally actually started talking numbers, the way it was is individuals who make more than $29,000 a year would see an increase in their taxes, and everyone who makes more than that in the tax brackets would see corresponding increases in their taxes all the way up. Here's the catch. He also wanted to increase the minimum wage to, guess what? An hourly rate that would put every full-time worker above the $29,000 a year mark from one single job. So
actually, his plan was a lot more gradated than that, but I get what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, everybody would feel it, but the top would feel it higher, and it's once again, it's the direction we have to go, but I approach it realistically as like you have to, when you're voting for someone as president, it's the president isn't fucking king as much as like Trump likes to pretend he is. The president isn't fucking king, and whatever they fucking do isn't necessarily what's going to happen. Everything's going to happen in coincide with Congress, and like, yeah, Bernie had a whole bunch of pie in the sky ideas, and there's no fucking way they're happening because look at Congress.
Yeah,
that's what.
Oh yeah. I mean, look at the people who actually are in the positions that's actually going to be allowing this to happen. You gotta and that
my approach was just that Bernie was pushing things in a sort of a direction they would have to go. It wouldn't get where he wants it to go, but it would push it in the direction that it kind of needs to go, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, if you could manage to push the needle. The problem is, once the information, he finally put information out there more. I mean, at first, he actually screwed himself a little bit, because on a couple of the interviews, he actually started to say 25,000, but had to correct himself to the 29. But here's the thing. I understand that, yes, it would be a gradated increase of the taxes under his plan and everything. But here is the kicker, and this was the nail in the coffin of it, is his campaign kept saying, economists posted about it, said that while it has the framework to be successful, the way it is currently constituted and presented is not fiscally possible.
That's gonna be a problem without any necessary price adjustment, and that's part of the problem I have right now. Like, there's a widening income divide in the U.S., and like nobody seems to actually want to actually do anything constructive about it. And if it keeps up this way, we're going to collapse.
Yeah. The big middle is going to end up being the detriment. And a lot of people want to point to, yes, look, the median income of the middle class and lower class are rising, but at a disproportionate rate compared to the top end. And that's where you're getting that issue, is the economic effectiveness of the middle and lower class is nowhere near comparable to what it was in the 50s and 60s when the U.S. really took off economically.
That's what I was like looking like, like I was saying, like I was a Bernie supporter in the sense of his is kind of the direct, like him or Warren or whatever, any of this, are like pushing things in the direction they need to go. But that's not necessarily saying when I describe myself as that, not saying like, oh, if you randomly select a Bernie platform issue, it's I 100% agree with that. That's not inaccurate.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. I'm
a realist. I approach things realistic and strategically.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is I look at it that way when I evaluate it, but my initial thought for a way to address that core issue without breaking up too much of the systems that are attached to it and stemming from it is a way to re-incentivize corporate tax structures and everything. Because the way a lot of the corporate financials can be messed with on the tax liability, a way to incentivize the companies to pay all their workers across the board a better wage is stop treating bonuses as something separate from pay and actually tax it the executive bonuses in the same fashion, maybe not as extreme as capital gains taxes or inheritance gains that have been changed over the years, but make it to where it hurts more to take it as a bonus versus pay. And also
I agree with you 100% on that one. So.
Incentivize the company itself to, on the payroll side of it, to give them a larger tax break for the wages paid to their employees that are not at the executive level. Because guess what?
Yeah, and it'd be great if that was some of the proposals that any of the candidates.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think start there. Start with that sort of changing of the tax incentivization that especially your larger businesses use. Hey, you're just in giving them a reason to pay their employees more because, hey, I want to as a business, I want to lower my business tax burden. Because what a lot of people don't realize, from your position in HR, I'm sure you're more than aware of this, that for every dollar that is taken from the paycheck of an employee for payroll taxes, the company itself has a matching burden.
Yeah.
So what is actually taken out of our check is actually 50% of the taxes that actually go to the government from payroll. There's the individual payroll, which is what we see out of our check, and then there's the corporate payroll, which is the same amount in addition to. Part
of the reason, like in a philosophical sense, part of the reason it's going on here, and this is my opinion, mind you, but people may agree with it or not, but we kind of have a system set up that's kind of been kind of built in over the decades where, kind of hate to have it to phrase it this way, but it's kind of the only way to do it, where capital is actually valued more than labor.
Mm-hmm.
And we're kind of seeing that right now, especially with a lot of people not being able to work, is it doesn't really work that way. Like, money doesn't make more money. Like, the actual thing that makes money is work. And the problem is that we have built this system over decades and decades that incentivizes capital over labor.
Yeah. And that's where a way to start that I could see actually getting pushed through Congress and everything is that change of the incentivization on the taxes, which Fino out there said make tax rate for the company depending on things like the rate between investment and dividend payout, or ratio between median income and CEO level 1 management income. And I would go more towards that later bit. If you incentivize it so the larger the disparity on your median worker income versus your executive level income, the tighter those two are, the less tax burden a company has. I would agree with that as a way to incentivize them for it. Now,
Yeah, we definitely.
in here
Because I mean,
and
I'm
say
not
that I
saying
gotta
that.
go, guys.
Yeah, that's why I want to
Right, later.
hate to have to say that. Like, it's like I don't want to say that like capital investment is bad.
No,
you
you
kinda
still,
need it.
yeah, you
But
still
we have like
need,
this very lopsided system.
yeah, you still need that. You still need that mechanism for self-investment back into your company. With the service companies and tech companies that I've been with, it is the same. You still need that recycling cash flow to further your products and services. So you do need that bit in there, but at the same time, just having money sitting in an account or sitting in some sort of easily liquidatable investment is not going to make you as much as actually having better production from your workforce and actually getting your products out there and increasing your market share through, I don't know, delivering what you are actually supposed to be delivering. I mean, the first company that I worked for after the Navy was in 2008. It was right in the beginning of the recession that hit, and that company, we stayed thriving, and it was all because of us on the service side of it, still doing our thing, still being out there with the customers, still delivering the products and the services at a level that made our clients want and our customers continue to buy products and services from us, at the same time as expanding our services to bring in new customers and increase our market share in other areas. There are ways to do it even in a recession, but guess what? You actually have to deliver the products.
Yeah. Money doesn't make, money doesn't make value. Work makes value. I mean, the money can help the work make value, but I mean, you still need the work. And that's kind of think what's been forced on now is like, people are talking about like, oh, we need to save the economy by getting people back to work. Because I mean, the people at the top are basically realizing that, now realizing their money doesn't come from nowhere. It comes from workers.
Mm. Yeah. See, and looking back at the chat, I think this is a perfect line to really end it on for the live portion of this. And I agree with Ugly German Truce on this exactly. Capital investment itself is not bad, but you cannot privatize winnings and socialize losses. And that shifting of the numbers and fuzzy financials is what has gotten a lot of the mess that we're in from a fiscal and tax standpoint. If you fix that bullshit, if you streamline it and make the system easier to manage and predict on that aspect on what your liabilities should be and are at the end of the year, at the end of the fiscal year, it makes it so much better for everyone across the board, and especially with the ideas of trying of the redistribution of incentivizations on top of that. I see a lot of changes, and here's the thing, and here is the kicker. You wouldn't even have to affect the CEO level pay in what I've suggested. I have not suggested taking money away from the individuals. Just re-incentivize where they get their tax breaks from. And guess what? If you incentivize them to pay their employees more, guess what they're eventually going to have to do? Pay the employees more. And at the same time, that's more buying power on the lower end, which then reinvigorates the economy and really ends up driving the economy further to greater and better things. It would be beautiful to see this happen, but I recognize just my voice, just our voices here aren't. It might be a good start, might be a good launching off point, but this isn't where it's going to get to where it needs to be. We need to get a lot of the ingrained stick in, and not even stick in the mud. We're talking people who are so old and stuck in the ways of the positions that they're in Congress at the higher levels of legislation that they might as well be a fucking mountain. guess what? It's time to get the dynamite, get them out of there, and actually get people in there who want to move things forward in a proper, thought-out way.
I'm sorry. All I can think of is this thing I saw where it's like talk about like this desiccated skeleton is running for its fourth term.
You know, Strom Thurmond was in office for how long?
Yeah, I agree with you. And that's why I got about the Bernie thing is like I never like supported all of Bernie's positions 100%. But it's kind of like just I needed like a Bernie or a Warren that would just push things towards that direction, kind of thing.
All right. Well, with that, it has been enjoyable and has been actually quite the end. I might end up clipping this later, seeing as how I have the weekend off, but we'll see what else the wife has planned for me to do, because working all week, it really leaves less time for things to happen. So, enjoyed. It's been fun. I think I'm going to end up clipping the last bit of this just as a standalone and see what people have to say, because I would love to hear further discussion on something like that, on what are potential avenues, what do people who have actually looked at and analyzed it think would work. Don't come with an emotional argument. Don't come with, well, I feel this would be. No. I want something that can actually be implemented and affordable and sustainable. That is the key thing. Sustainability and affordability are the keys to making it continue without a massive failure at some point that is just going to hurt everyone in some way, shape, or form. I would prefer to avoid it, but at the same time, I'm not opposed to it if it will get the end result. Sometimes there are extreme cases where the ends justify the means, but let's try to avoid that first. Reminder. In 17 hours, we will be live for Kanar with Damar, which, yes, bit more political talk there, because we will be analyzing Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country, which some of you might already know the parallels that are going to be there, but yeah, that's I'm really going in on that one to run the comparison between what happened in the movie and where they were at in that universe compared to what had happened in recent history in our world at that time. So if you're interested, if you want more of this sort of intellectual discussion, we're going to be doing it tomorrow afternoon there, just with a sci-fi slant to it. Until then, join the Discord, have fun. Who knows what some of the other night owls are going to be up to the rest of the night. Who knows, you might end up seeing some weird anime at some point. You never know. Only way to find out is join the Discord and keep an eye out, because we do tend to tag people when we're going to be doing stuff and things like that in voice chats, which, hey, good on you for getting better, Discord. Maybe YouTube can learn a thing or two.
Fat chance.
Yeah, you know what? I can hope. But with that, we will see all of you tomorrow afternoon.